So we thought we had War Games. We had Johnny Gargano come down. We had Tommaso Ciampa come down. And we had Finn Balor come down. We're like, this is War Games. Who's the fourth guy going to be? And I'm like, wait, Finn Balor, you just kicked Johnny Gargano in the head. You just kicked him through a barricade. And now you just brainbusted him on the ramp. What is happening? Welcome back, everybody, to the Shoot Style Sauna, episode 5. Our prince has returned to us. I am your host, the king of Shoot Style, Stel, and I am joined again by my friend Eric, joining us once again for a second time. We may be joined by Sam Little later in the episode. He's currently running some errands away from the recording studio, but he may join us for later. But on the agenda, we have the recent events on NXT to talk about, the episode in general, and the big news to take away in our thumbnail. We also have some stuff about all the other news happening. We have a lot to talk about Impact. We have a lot to talk about with New Japan Pro Wrestling. We have a lot to talk about with some WWE news. We have some stuff to talk about with the Wednesday Night Wars. We have some thoughts on WWE 2K20, and we have the return of the sauna seat making its return after a couple weeks away, but we hope you're ready to jump in, sit down with us, and feel the heat. So let's get right into it with our opening segment, The One Count. So a lot of things to talk about. We will now go through the headlines of the past week and a half. So the first thing on the agenda is New Japan Pro Wrestling of America is a thing now. So this happened after some communications between WWE and Japan itself. Triple H was looking around to buy, I believe it was Pro Wrestling Noah, and there was some communications and it didn't happen. And there was also rumors of WWE looking to buy Stardom, the women's promotion there. That obviously did not happen because the parent company, I think, of New Japan bought Stardom. Yeah. It was something along those lines. Now there's this fabled New Japan's women's division coming to fruition with the acquisition of Stardom, which has always been a big deal to them because, they never really had one. And Japanese women's wrestling is really big, and it's some of the most high-quality women's wrestling outside of the States. So it's a really big deal.
And some of the biggest female stars in the States are Japanese. Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, Rio.
Yeah, most recently, Rio is the most recent example. And even like some of the lesser-known Joshi ladies in AEW, such as Yuka Sakazaki. We haven't seen for a while, but she did make a good following when she was on air with them. We also had Hikaru Shida come from Japan. We also had, Aja Kong, a very big legend in Japan, also making her name known in the States as of late. So yeah, Japanese women's wrestling is becoming more presented as a big deal on a national scale outside of Japan, so it's good. And with New Japan Pro Wrestling of America, with the strategy that they have, it does appear that they will be like this in separate rosters where they have like one big roster that goes between both states.
Yeah, I think they have like kind of what they do now is they have their main roster and then they have people like a couple little rosters that go with them on different shows.
Yeah, so I think it's would you say it's kind of like an NXT UK sort of thing?
Kind of. Instead of just like one or two would go, it's like maybe a group of like 10 would go with the main roster.
Yeah, so like my thinking is you have like a group A, like let's say you have like Will Ospreay, Okada, like a bunch of Chaos guys, a bunch of Bullet Club guys. They go to the States for a while, then they come back to Japan. Would it be like that?
I think so. I think that's what it is, and they're gonna establish their own stars in America as well, especially because they got the LA dojo.
Yes.
So they can bring up their own guys.
Yeah. So I think eventually they could probably get more American wrestlers if they don't want to go to AEW right now, or they don't want to go to WWE. They don't want to make that jump yet. They could start in New Japan, get used to that Japanese style, or they might invent like their own style in America. For all we know, it's a whole new promotion, so we don't know about it just yet how it's going to work. Like in the ring wise, we have an idea considering all the people that work in New Japan right now who will work in the States. But this is good for New Japan, not just like in a talent way of like expanding the promotion and getting more American names involved. It's also good for the exposure of New Japan. New Japan to me has always been like that third promotion on my radar that I don't watch a lot, but I follow. And it's one I don't have easy access to. But I do like hearing about it and what they're up to. Like I was very interested this past summer in the G1 with Moxley being involved and all the events that happened with that. But now that we have this American promotion and them being a lot more involved in the States of doing shows, it really does help. And it continues to create this picture of you have all these different products that you can watch. If you don't like this one promotion, maybe you might like this. And it gives you more variety as a viewer to watch what you like and, stay with what you like. And there you go.
I think even New Japan have their streaming service before WWE's, or was that
like New Japan World?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That's probably a Google search. I had to figure out when New Japan World was founded, but the network was 2014. It was announced, or
Yes.
yeah, it launched.
Yeah, that's when it launched.
Yeah, that's when it was like announced, and then it became a thing. Whereas New Japan World, I feel like was probably like I'd say in the past decade at the very least.
Yeah,
because the internet's become a lot more prominent for
and
them.
just the biggest. I tried signing up for New Japan World, and like I couldn't because the website was all in Japanese. Mm-hmm. So I think they're gonna have an American website and then also have the Japanese, and it would be great with the new American promotion as well.
Yes, and the American promotion I know has like their own social media feed. They have their own Twitter. Mm-hmm. They have like a bunch of their own like social media pages. So I think what they might do eventually is that they might make a New Japan Pro Wrestling of America website where they might have like their own like New Japan America World like sign up fee, or they might just like combine it in with the New Japan World subscription where you can like also watch the American shows whenever they air that they want to broadcast. Like, you know, your G1 Supercards are just like a G1 Supercard with just New Japan guys, or the G1 special when it comes to the States, they'll broadcast the matches there. And because there's this whole press release about the announcement of the promotion that outlines like their strategies, and they've already done some of their phases, such as phase 1, do shows in the States with the joining of other promotions, and phase 2 was
phase 1 was discovering new wrestlers in markets outside of Japan and developing talent through the LA dojo. And then phase 2 was running the events in the US, which included the G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden, and then the G1 in Dallas this year. And with these shows, they needed assistance from other promotions to kind of help them get their name out there. And then the third phase, which is establishing a company within the U.S. And be ingrained in the everyday fabric when it comes to fans' wrestling consciousness.
Which I really like about that statement, because it means they're going to be aware of what their market's up to and what they think is happening, like their opinions on things. So they're going to be listening to their fans and also scanning the states of who they want to recruit, who they want to train, and who they want to help out alongside their established stars, like I said, your Okadas, your Ospreys, the guys in Chaos, and the whole stable's going on right now. So yeah, it's some really exciting news for them. It's really good, and they have like this whole map of like the states of where they'll be running shows. So yeah, looking at the map right now off stream, we have the West Coast. They have 6 cities and 4 states they'll be running shows in. Texas, they'll be in 4 cities. They've already ran shows in Dallas, so they'll probably want to keep that going alongside probably like Houston. I'd probably say like San Antonio maybe, and then what's another big city in Texas?
Dallas.
Yeah, well, we already said Dallas. Like El Paso.
No, not El Paso. San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio is one I mentioned. So they have some big options down there. The Midwest. So plays like Detroit, Green Bay, maybe like Illinois. Maybe they might do some stuff in Chicago if they want. So they'll be across the Midwest. The East Coast. So New York is an obvious one. Boston is another good one. Let's see.
It says for the East Coast, it says 4 cities in 3 states. So I think it's going to be
Boston, New
York, Philly, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, or well, it has to be. I think it has to be one of those. So yeah, 4 across 3 states. Yep, that's my bad. Yeah, those are all big wrestling cities. AEW has done shows in 3 out of the 4 of those places already. So those are all really good wrestling towns. The Southeast, we have 6 cities across 4 states. So I imagine a lot of Florida, maybe like Atlanta, Georgia as well. A pretty good wrestling town. So they have a good option there. I think it's going to be Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina.
Yep.
I can see those 4. They can go there for some shows. And like I said, Florida, of course, is a big spot because that's where NXT is operated. It's where AEW are operated, so they have a good wrestling fan base there. North Carolina's always been good because that's Flair country. They're really big, just a good wrestling town to go to. South Carolina, it's nearby. I don't see the problem with going there. And Georgia, another wrestling area. It's where WCW was. It's where it's where some of the Rhodes family come from. So that's a good place to go as well. So yeah, they have quite the map laid out. And I think the next year for them is going to be a very, very eventful one. Of course, we have Wrestle Kingdom coming up.
Yes.
Coming up very soon. We're about 3 months, less than 3 months now.
And a smart thing New Japan is doing is the market research. You can see with their touring structure, they have estimated that the majority of the U.S. fan base, about 70%, according to them, would be able to go to the shows. So, I mean, I think they chose those spots because that was like the biggest number of people they can get to come to these shows, which is great because it seems like WWE isn't doing much on market research. Like, they just know what makes money and not really. Well, it's kind of what market
they have an idea. They have an idea of who's doing well,
but Yeah, they just don't execute it very well, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think with WWE, they could tell which talent is doing very well, like your Becky Lynch's, your Bray Wyatt's, the NXT guys, your Seth Rollins, your Roman Reigns. They do very well, with merch sales, fan reception. But you have the lesser known guys that people like. Your Buddy Murphy's, a lot of the cruiserweights. A lot of people are very fond of the cruiserweights who watch 205 Live. AJ Styles, who's still pretty prominent, but probably not as appreciated as some people would hope. Then nowadays, he's kind of in the mid card. Kevin Owens, people like him. Samoa Joe is another big name who I feel has been very underappreciated as of late.
One underappreciated wrestler I want to talk about is Luke Harper.
Yes, big one.
Fans love him. He's great in the ring. I love his work. But the thing is, with the merch sales and trying to figure out who's popular, he doesn't have any merch.
No, because he wears a wife beater.
And he doesn't have a shirt. And I remember it was maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. WWE made shirts for every person on NXT.
Yeah, and they're made of MS Word, those really funny word arts from the 1990s, which look hilarious. I like some of them, but none of them are great.
Even new guys who maybe had one match, like Dexter Loomis. He had a shirt, but Luke Harper didn't have a shirt, and he even went to Twitter. He's like, "Hey, where's my shirt? I've been here for years."
I'm pretty sure he made his Twitter about saying, "I don't get why the NXT guys can swear on Twitter and I can't." He was making all these jabs in NXT, which was kind of funny, but it's also it's kind of true when you think about it, because all these NXT guys are getting all this treatment as of late, whereas Luke Harper, a guy who's been here since 2012, 2013.
Yeah, he started in NXT.
Yeah, he started there. He was a tag champion.
Yeah,
back in the day, and now he's here just trying to appear on TV. He's like, "Hey, am I gonna do stuff now?" It's like, "Oh, we're gonna separate you from Rowan." It's like
again.
Yeah, again, and Rowan's on Raw. He's scheduled for a match on Monday with Seth Rollins, actually. Yep. So we're going to see Rowan again, which, speaking of Rowan, I do like that he's gotten this push.
I do.
I think he's coming to his own.
If he had this push even back in 2014 when it was him and Big Show, TLC in a stairs match.
It was really weird.
I wouldn't have liked it, but I think he's greatly improved, and he's doing great for himself.
Yeah, I think him working with Daniel Bryan helped him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I was really confused by it at first, but it turned out to be a really fun partnership, and the whole breakup angle, I thought it came a little too soon.
Yeah.
But they made it work, and it's nice. It's interesting seeing that they drafted Rowan to Raw. But, of course, Raw has Heyman in charge, and Heyman's really big on a lot of the younger guys. He's big on guys like Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy. I'm sure he has a plan for a lot of the guys he drafted.
I think Raw is going to be the new wrestling show, like SmackDown has been for most of 2019.
Before
with the
roster,
too. Yeah, with the roster that they have, is because with SmackDown being on Fox, they have more the bigger stars and the celebrities.
Your celebrities,
yeah.
Your Cain Velasquez, your Tyson Furies that turn up on the first episode. So yeah, SmackDown, they do have some good moments, like this Daniel Bryan Shinsuke program they're starting to put together. I think it'll be great, but I look at SmackDown now and I see Kofi Kingston's back in the tag division, which it's really unfortunate. I think they did him really dirty, and not happy about it. But it's other than that, it's kind of they're just kind of pandering to all the the general market. Yeah. And I think it's sure, it works, but I've always been a SmackDown guy most of my life, and when I looked more at this change happening, I'm like, what, I'm more of a Raw guy now. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Becky Lynch fan. That's not just because of that. I just think that the show it's going to take more of that, general publicity turn where it just caters to the casual fan, and, it won't be as exciting as it used to be. And on the Raw side, it may also make because of just who's in charge of the show. Because it's Bruce Pritchard now. It's not Eric Bischoff anymore. Hope you weren't too attached to him. But Bruce Pritchard is the guy running the show, and he's been working with WWE for years, which is awesome. But, I'm also nervous that, Vince may have more of a say in SmackDown, I think, too, because, they're trying to promote that as the A show now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tricky. I'm sure it'll have its moments, I think. But, looking at Raw, which has always been the A show for as long as I've been watching, and before then, too, it being transitioned more into this 3-hour B show with all the good wrestling, it's it's entertaining. I thought it was a pretty good Raw this week, too, in general.
Yeah.
And Heyman calling the shots and wanting to push a lot of the younger guys. The cruiserweights have been doing pretty good for themselves on Raw right now. Guys like Humberto Carrillo, who's gotten some really good exposure already in his first week on the show. Yeah. Buddy Murphy had a good showing with Cedric last week. Cedric's been already getting this kind of a push, stop-start push he's been getting since the summer. So my only worry for them is that they need more of a character.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I worry about with them, is they need to develop more character aside from just being, hey, we're good in the ring. It's well, what else do you know about you? What's your personality? That's my only concern for them.
That's what Paul Heyman was good for. Even back in ECW in '96, he was the one bringing in Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, all these guys that are just solid in the ring and giving them national or somewhat national exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going back to the Raw roster, I think that someone Heyman is really going to push is going to be Aleister Black.
Oh, hell yeah.
Of course, I think Heyman's really big on him, and he has the character already. You know, he's a very ominous character. You know, we know all about it from NXT, and now he's starting to get, you know, this is probably more I've seen him on Raw than I did in his entire time on SmackDown. Aside from that match, he had Cesaro, which was fun. Him getting this like more introduction to the fans and like, oh yeah, this is him. Here's what he does in the ring. He has a submission now, the Dark Ritual, which I think is a pretty cool submission. So they give him more of like a broad moveset. And I'm wondering like what they might have him do. Like maybe he'll go into the U.S. title feud at first, but it seems we're getting AJ versus KO for that right now. So I think
again,
again, 2017.
Which I'm not complaining.
No, I'm sure it'll hopefully be better. It was okay back in 2017.
Shane McMahon.
Shane, but Shane's gone now. He's gone. Luckily, hopefully that stays. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. Raw, I think it'll be good. This Monday show, we have 2 matches I think right now, where we have Seth Rollins and Eric Rowan in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and a match I'm really looking forward to, Becky Lynch versus Kairi Sane. So obviously Becky Lynch is my favorite wrestler. I've made that established in the podcast before. Kairi Sane is another talent I've always really, really liked. Of course, she won the first Mae Young Classic. She's a big deal. We talked about Japanese wrestling. And Kairi Sane actually pinned Becky Lynch a couple weeks ago. So she has, she's got the one-up on her. So, and plus, they're going to be on NXT on Wednesday.
Yes.
Which I think is great. They're giving the women's tag belt more of a chance, and they're finally putting them on NXT, which is going to be a great reception for them, too, because, you know, they were both made in NXT, which I'm just really excited to see them back on the show against Team Kick. But, yeah, I think Raw will be good. I'm excited. Heyman's doing a decent job so far, I'd say. And it's still early days for him probably being charged with the new roster, but we'll continue with that. Sticking to WWE, there's been a rumor going around that Carlito has been in talks with WWE. Yep. This has been floating around the past couple of days. And how old's Carlito now? Do we know?
Must be in his 40s.
Yeah, he's got to be. Of course, for those who don't, Carlito was somebody who was from the mid 2000s. Carlito's Cabana was a big thing back in the day.
He's 40,
so he's pretty old now. I'm intrigued by this, but I'm not sure if it's for the right reasons. I remember. I think the last time we saw Carlito was 2011, 2010 when he was tagging with Primo. You remember that?
2009 is when they unified the titles
quote
of the
unquote.
WrestleMania pre-show. But the last time we saw him was when he inducted his father, Carlos Colon, into the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna go for it. I think he's happy where he is in Puerto Rico. He's probably closer to his family and kind of being able to do his own thing. And honestly, WWE is contacting him. It's not like he is going and being like, hey, can I have a job? It's like they're coming to him. So
it's gotta be for something. I think worst case he might take a backstage role.
Yeah, or if he does come back, I'll be happy to see it, but I'm worried he'll end up like a Shelton Benjamin where he's just kind of there.
Yeah, Shelton's had a weird time since he came back. He was injured when he first came back, which put him on the shelf for a while.
He got hyped up and then he got injured
which
before
sucks.
He made his return.
He came to SmackDown, he had that weird tag team with Chad Gable that was okay, but then they got separated, and now he had that weird gimmick where he just looked at the screen a lot and made weird faces and thought about a lot of things.
And then he's Brock, now he's back to being Brock's friend or
which is it's kind of cool. It's continuity.
I mean, yeah, it's good to have that he's doing that because Brock's not on TV all the time. So let's have someone to keep that.
But they're also on separate shows is the problem. Yeah. So now Sheldon's on Raw getting beat up by Cain Velasquez, whereas Brock is on SmackDown in a title feud right now. Yeah. Which, I mean, I think Carlito, if he does come back, maybe be a one-off thing, maybe a Rumble appearance. Maybe if anything, will probably be the first people we see him, and I could see him probably going into a backstage producer role a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Or maybe he goes on the WWE Backstage, the Fox FS1 show they have. He could join as a guest on that because they've been doing that with a lot of people. Finn Balor was just on Backstage last night. Paige has been on it. We've had Renee Young hosted, obviously. They've had Booker T on it. He's also a recurring guest. So they could make use of him like that, bring back alumni for that. It could add some spice to the show, which I hear is a pretty fun show. People do like the reception that Backstage has gotten. I need to watch it myself, but I think it's cool having this more sports-oriented presentation of it, which, of course, that's the point of the Fox deal. And having other people, putting NXT on it, too, is, I think, a really good deal. And it helps hype up NXT as a bigger deal as well for the casual fan. So, yeah, so Carlito, we'll see about that. We'll stick to WWE news. Some unfortunate news this week. Xavier Woods is going to be out up to 1 year with an Achilles injury.
6 months to a year.
Which this
Achilles.
Came at a really bad time.
Yeah.
So the story of it is they were doing a house show in Australia. It was the New Day against, I think it was the Revival, and was it Randy Orton?
I'm not not sure.
It was Revival. I think it was either a 2-on-2 or a 3v3 match. I think it was Orton and the Revival against the New Day. Xavier Woods simply he runs the ropes, falls to the ground, and that's where the injury happened. So something as simple as that caused, a really bad injury, and it's not good. It happened in the simplest ways, and it just shows how even the little things in the sport can cause such big deal injuries. Because I think we've also had instances in the past like Triple H tore his quad.
They just hitting him, just planted his leg and this is quad.
Yeah. So these things happened, but it's just not a good timing. I talked about earlier how I think Kofi has not been given the best of what he's been given since this move to Fox. Being relegated to losing in 6 seconds to Brock, being relegated back to like a tag team act. Of course, they've been like doing some character work with Kofi, like the whole Otis thing where he crushed the pancake in his hand when Otis mentioned WWE title on SmackDown, which is like, ooh, they could be leading to something there. And last night on SmackDown, he got rolled up in the tag match, so maybe some frustration is building there for Kofi. We don't know. This could just be, hey, it's the New Day. Oh, they lost. I don't know what's going to happen. But with Crown Jewel happening during that tag team turmoil match, maybe they do something more there. I wouldn't expect it because it's a glorified house show. Maybe next week on SmackDown. But it does hurt it because there's only 2 guys now for the New Day who are going to be on TV together for a while, and that's Big E and Kofi.
I mean,
not having Xavier there does hurt a lot because
I know he's going to have surgery, but after the surgery, after he's kind of recovered more, I think he could back and just be like the mouthpiece.
He could. He could just be like on a crutch or something, hyping up the New Day like he always did.
Or like a wheelchair and have like it all pimped out wheelchair.
Yeah, which they would totally do. I think when Big E was injured earlier this year, he was just off TV because it wasn't supposed to be that long anyway. And that
was a groin injury.
That was a groin injury, which is a whole different story. But Big E was having fun at home on Twitter, talking about shows and also having a go at Becky Lynch's mom, which was funny. But yeah, it's not good, and I think it's gonna hurt like the New Day what they had in mind maybe. But after the surgery happens, which probably the next 2 months I'd say at the very least, he'll get healed up and we'll see him again hopefully soon. Fingers crossed. But we send our best wishes to Xavier Woods in this really unfortunate time, and like it just goes to say, it's simplest things could lead to the biggest of injuries.
And I'm sure we'll get updates on up, down, down.
Yes, I think he made a tweet about how he wants to stream more because of the injury. So hopefully we'll see him streaming more, just him playing games, maybe some more up, down, down content of like other superstars like he's always been doing. Up, down, down championship defenses. We'll hopefully see those more. It's gonna be curious to see what he does for on the road stuff because he worked up a lot of the talent on the road for the show, and it's really entertaining stuff. He does a lot of fun stuff with the people there. But like I said, best regards to Xavier, speedy recovery. Hope to see you again soon, and best regards to the New Day as well for what's coming up. Switching over to Impact Wrestling. Impact had Bound for Glory this past weekend, and some of the big stories that came from that, starting with their Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. We had the appearances of 2 people who people are very fond of. The first one was Smiley Kylie Ray, who has not been seen on, I guess, TV since I think it was Double or Nothing.
Yes, and then she mysteriously asked for her release from
AEW. Tony Khan, during the All Out media scrum, confirmed that she asked for her release from the company, which shocked a lot of people because she was positioned as this big deal babyface for the women's division, who was very good. Her entrance to Double or Nothing, where she broke down in the tears, was so emotional because she had come such a far way, and people were interested in her. I was interested to see what she was more about too. And when she had her match, she was pulled from her match at Fyter Fest with Leva Bates. It was really curious. We didn't know what was happening because she was going to fight her, but then she was replaced with Allie, which it's fuck. I thought it was just maybe the travel issues happened, maybe she got injured, but no, she just had to pull out for whatever reason. I think her mentality, and then Tony Khan at All Out confirmed that she asked for her release, and she was gone from AEW after only one appearance. She went away for a little bit. I think she stayed away from wrestling, and then she came back at an indie show. I think September. She did some intergender wrestling, and then she appeared at Bound for Glory in the Call Your Shot match. She didn't win. She I think got the second stage of the match. It was thrown up by somebody else, but it wasn't just Kylie that appeared in the match. We had Joey Ryan show up. So Joey Ryan's always been this big independent wrestling advocate. He's appeared on pretty much everywhere that I can think of.
Yeah, every promotion.
He's always
Except for WWE.
Yeah, because I remember WWE was actually interested in signing Joey Ryan, and I was like, that wouldn't work.
No,
it would not work at all.
No, because he can't be dropping lollipops down his pants.
Yeah, he also can't be doing just dick flips and everything, which that would not work at all. Even in NXT, they would not let that happen because of the PG rating. I remember they were interested in him, but nothing really ever came of that. It might have just been a rumor for all we know. Yeah, Joey Ryan, he appeared in the Battle Royal. He did the big flip spot with a bunch of people. There was a lot of people he did. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've heard about it. He did that, and for Joey Ryan, it's been confirmed he has signed with Impact.
Yep, Joey Ryan has signed a multi-year deal with Impact, and he tweeted that it made the most sense. Impact Wrestling has been the most consistent wrestling program on TV for the past 2 years. I get to keep all my indie dates, and best of all, they let me be me.
For someone like Joey Ryan, that's pretty much all you could ask for. Because like I say, we talked about the NXT thing. Like if he went there, he would have been toned out. He couldn't do all the silly stuff that he's been doing forever. And yeah, I think I can agree with his statement about Impact being very consistent. Because ever since the whole they went past Del Rio and everything, like in 2017, they've really created a more consistent product. They've had the rise of Tessa Blanchard, who we'll get to in a bit. We've had OVE and Sami Callihan making big heel moves and making really good names for themselves. We've had the X Division being very explosive and a lot of fun to watch. The tag division's been fun, even though they just lost Lucha Brothers. They've still made a really good big deal of their tag division with the North and everybody else. Eddie Edwards has been great. So they've been really building up their talent, but Tom Campbell from Cultaholic made a good point about this, is that when they do their pay-per-views year by year, the card changes a lot. Mm-hmm. And let's say one year you have like Brian Cage, Sami Callihan in the main event. The next year it could be totally different. It could be like Eddie Edwards versus it could be Joey Ryan next year. So the big thing of Impact that they need to work on, I think, is to be able to keep their top talent, which we'll get to in a story in a little bit. So with Joey Ryan coming in, they can have a character like him and probably keep him for a while while he also works his indie dates. So his appearances may be more sparse on Impact because he probably has a busy schedule to maintain aside from like the TV recordings for Impact. He'll have his indie dates with whatever other promotion he's working with. But yeah, I can agree to what Joey has said. I think Impact is a very steady product, and with their TV debut coming up on Tuesday, I'm excited to see it. I'm sure I should be watching it. I'm excited to see what the product looks like on TV. I've watched like tidbits of their stuff. I don't know how often you watch Impact yourself, but it's always been on my radar ever since I heard about them coming into more prominence the past couple of years. Speaking of Impact, Bound for Glory was a show. It was pretty well received from what I know, but it wasn't one of their stronger shows. Let's pull up the card real quick.
I got it right. So for the main event, we had for the Impact World Championship, it was a no DQ match between Brian Cage defeated Sami Callihan.
It was a good match, and
it was.
Callahan, not Callahan. Cage had the very Wolverine-inspired attire.
He did, and then he had the claws and then sliced.
That looks really good. I didn't know it was no DQ. So I thought that I didn't know that. I thought the ref was just down, but I didn't know it was no DQ match. I saw the spot of it.
The highlights after this, and for what I saw, I thought it was great.
I heard it was one of the better matches of the night. I heard the main three matches that I heard were great were the main event, the ladder match, and the Marufuji Elgin match were the three best matches of the night. That's what I heard. Mm-hmm. We had the aforementioned X Division ladder match. We had Ace Austin surprisingly win the title over Jake Christ, Ace Romero,
Tessa Blanchard, and Daga.
And Daga. So Ace Romero was announced the night before. There was this mystery spot. We didn't know who was going to be filled, but Ace Romero was announced for the match. So I didn't see that coming. I thought it was somebody else who was on the roster. I was thinking Killer Cross for some reason. Mm-hmm. But I heard it was a really fun match. Tessa Blanchard was one of the standouts from that match. I heard one of the big spots for her was when Ace Romero was on the ladder. And she pushes him off the ladder through a table, and I think he clips the ropes and falls on his back through the table.
Oh no, but he's not a small
massive.
Man.
Oh, he's massive.
So he's coming from the top of the ladder going to the floor. I'm like, there's a crack in that concrete.
It has to be, and there might be an indent in that floor, and they may have to never use that arena again because of the damage he left. For those who don't know who Ace Romero is, if anybody who's watched Double or Nothing, he was the very large man in the Casino Battle Royale. That was the first time I saw him, and I'm like, who is this lad? And I saw him, okay, that's Ace Romero. It was interesting. People say he's really athletic too.
Very athletic for his size. Oh my god, he's doing suicide dives all day.
That's awesome.
And just running around, jumping over the top rope. It's whoa.
It's kind of like a Keith Lee, except taking to another level at that point. But yeah, very good match. Everyone did a lot of their good stuff. I remember the spot where was it Canadian Destroyer threw a ladder on the outside?
I think so.
There was a crazy spot. I think it was Jake Christ took the bump, and it looked nasty, but it looked also really well done. I think that's what took Christ out of the match, because that was toward the second half of the match. So yeah, another highlight of the night. Next we had the Elgin versus Marufuji match, which is a very, very New Japan-esque match because both guys have came from Japan. Elgin has been
a lot of kicks, a lot of
stiff shots because Japanese wrestling, and it was a very good match. I think people say it was their match. I heard a lot of people say it was the best match of the night. Mm-hmm. Elgin, of course, has been in New Japan. He's worked in the G1. He's beaten Kenny Omega. He's beaten Tanahashi before, so I think it's completed the gauntlet of aces in Japan. Of course, Marufuji was he All Japan or has he been New Japan before?
I don't know that.
I don't think he was New Japan. People say he might have been All Japan, or I don't think he was Noah, but I think he came from another Japanese promotion, and because there's promotions that are part of Impact, and I think Noah is one of them. It's not New Japan. I think it's either Noah or All Japan that are part of Impact. And they're also partnered with AAA because there were AAA talents on the show. But yeah, I heard that was a lot of people's match of the night. and it was a really hard-hitting match, stiff shots, and really well-received match, which is awesome. I didn't hear a lot about Elgin a lot. I know about his showings in the G1 Climax and New Japan in general, so it's good to see. If Impact TV coming up, I'm sure he'll be made as like a big main event star or like a mid-card star at least, and we'll see a lot more of him. Next, we had the Impact World title match, or tag title match. The North retained over Rich Swann and Willie Mack and Rhino and RVD. And the key thing about this match is that RVD turned heel, and it was really weird for me.
Yeah.
I saw the clip where I think it was like Rhino running the ropes or something like that, and RVD just kicked him in the face.
I think so.
And it was really weird. Because like RVD as a heel, it would not work.
It's just like
for
such
me.
a happy stoner. It's like.
Plus, he excites the crowd.
I'm a mean happy stoner, man.
And he's old now too.
Yeah.
So it's really, really strange to me. And like if this was like 2003, this would not work at all. Because like back then, he was at like his peak, doing all his flips and everything, all his high flying moves. Like that just excites the crowd too. It's like when they tried to turn Jeff Hardy heel. Like that didn't work either because he was just such an exciting moveset, like person to watch because of his moveset. And I don't know how they're gonna do this with RVD on TV. I'm really curious. Is it going to work? I'm going to say right now, no. But it's also like old ECW guys trying to have fun like that. And it's peculiar to me. Anyway,
maybe it's a character RVD has been working on a lot, and it's just like it's interesting. Let's see what happens. Maybe RVD is just like some big ideas. Is like I got to do this before it's too late.
Yeah, maybe because have we ever seen heel RVD like anywhere, like even ECW?
I think a little when he was like TV champion when he was with it was with Sabu and then Bill Alfonso. Maybe he got booed a lot, but like his in ring work he gets over with the fans, so it's tough to say.
Yeah, I mean I'm still not a fan of it either way. I just find it very strange, but it's gotten people talking at least. I'm not sure if it's for the right reasons. But I'll go with it for right now, and I'll try and watch Impact and see what I think of it. Going from the tag match, we had the Knockouts Championship match. Taya Valkyrie retained over Tenille Dashwood. For the story I've gotten out of this match is that apparently Tenille Dashwood is not signed to Impact like properly. She was only on a one-show deal, which I did not know going into this. So I thought Tenille was going to win. But now that Taya's won and Tenille allegedly has this one-show deal, it does paint the picture that is Tenille going to go elsewhere? Is she going to go back to the Indies? Or will she stick around in Impact? Because for Taya, I think the next person in line for her is probably Jessica Havoc.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. I think maybe like Rosemary or somebody else in the women's division. But on Dashwood's side, she can either probably sign a proper deal with Impact or she could go to AEW. Because she did appear at All Out.
Yes.
When I thought she was someone, she did that after she signed Impact. So it's curious. It's like the AEW women's division could use some more talent.
Definitely.
Because the big thing about their division is they have people like Riho who are good in-ring workers, and they have these other names like your Britt Bakers, your Nyla Roses, who are like the people they want to position as like the top people, and they're still working their way towards like that top like level of the women's division. Like they're good in the ring, but they're not like that main event level that they want them to be just yet. But you can bring someone like Dashwood, who is known by the fans. Of course, her work as Emma and her work on the Indies in ROH and now in Impact, who could bring some fresh life in the division. I don't know if she'd be a face or heel. She can do both, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. But, we don't know what's going to happen. I think she'll probably stick around for a little bit, but only time will tell about that. Not much else to know about that match.
Yeah, just keeping the AEW women's division in mind, Tessa Blanchard, her Impact contract is apparently up.
Allegedly. So, someone from Busted Open Radio, I think his name was Ryan, he posted a tweet saying that Tessa Blanchard is allegedly done with Impact Wrestling. And I did not believe this. This tweet has been since deleted on Twitter. I tried to find it, but it's been deleted now. Mm-hmm. So this guy from Busted Open Radio reported that her contract is up. And so what this could mean is that she could be done with Impact either now or in the near future and look for either to re-sign a deal maybe. Because here's the thing, she's only 24 years old.
Yes.
And she's regarded as one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now, especially in the United States. And I think it's a tough position for Impact, because I go back to that thing I said about how their cards change every year of who's the top of the card. And if that happens, who they're positioning her as the top star of Impact, let's be real. She's been positioned as such a big deal. If she leaves, it does hurt Impact a lot.
It does. Yeah.
And they have one of the better women's divisions around right now next to WWE's. And if they lose her, it's going to really hurt them. But on her defense, it's like Tessa has been so well regarded for a lot of her work, but the thing is, not a lot of people have seen it.
Yes.
So it's her who would see her more. So I'm of the mind, this is probably unpopular, but I want Tessa Blanchard in WWE.
I don't. We saw her in the first Mae Young Classic. She lost in the first round to Kairi Sane.
It was a good match.
But she didn't sign a deal with WWE.
Yeah, it was only So that's her only exposure right now. But I'm of the mind that now that she's built more of like a portfolio for herself, I'd rather her do, because if she leaves, she can't do intergender wrestling in AEW or WWE because AEW said they're not going to do intergender stuff. So if she goes to AEW, she'll be only working with women for the time being. So it would help AEW a lot because they need like a top women's star that isn't a Japanese wrestler, aside from Riho. They could bring her in to help establish the American side of the division and give like them a big name to work with. But considering the talent in the division, what can she do with like lesser known names? That's my concern about that. She could probably get put on good matches with them and help them establish themselves. But if I'm gonna go with who she could have the best matches with and put on classic after classic, it's got to be NXT. You look at NXT Women's roster and wow, it's really been like adjusted a lot since the move to USA because they brought in a lot of NXT UK women who have really helped that division, like Tegan Nox, Rhea Ripley, and soon to be Toni Storm.
Yeah.
If she went there, one of the big deals for NXT would be Tessa Blanchard versus Io Shirai.
Yeah.
I would
Definitely.
I would want to see that match immediately, and that would probably main event. That would main event a takeover if I'm being honest. Probably like if she went probably like SummerSlam takeover because it would take a little bit to introduce her and everything, and depending on whenever her contract ends. But there is the concern of when she gets big enough, she goes to the main roster. What will happen to her, like booking from there? Will she be treated as a top star still? Will she have to work her way up like a lot of the other women have to? Of course, there's the heavily acclaimed match they wanted her to go against Charlotte because of the whole horsewoman thing. They come from a horseman family. The Flairs versus the Blanchards, of course, Rick and Tully. But the other thing, but speaking of Tully,
We can't get Tully in the match because he works for AEW.
as of right now, I don't know what his deal is. I think he's doing like a multi-show deal. I don't know like if he has a proper contract and everything, but I know he's doing TV. We've seen him come up a couple times. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been really fun to watch. Like at All Out, he looked great, and when we went to Dynamite in Boston, which we'll get to in a bit, he was great. So it's an interesting situation. Like I said, going back to her contract, I don't think it's true. I think she's going to be there till I think she signed a 2-year deal in 2018. So it's not going to be till 2020 when her deal expires. But I think if she does leave Impact, it's going to be one or the other. And she won't be able to do intergender stuff in either company if she's going to leave.
I think if she does leave, she should go to AEW, and because she would just help their women's division immensely. Because really, they don't have much. They really don't.
It's only like an 8-woman roster too, I think.
Yeah, and if she goes to that roster, then like they can build the roster around her.
They can, aside from Riho, which they've been working around Riho, but of course Riho probably isn't as available because of her Japanese dates as well. Because I think she keeps her Japanese date schedule of like I think the Joshi promotions there. I think she's in Stardom as well, so she's pretty busy with that. Same with Bea Priestley. Bea is also really busy with Stardom because she's the Stardom champion right now. So we haven't seen her a lot lately because she's in that feud with Britt Baker, but we have not seen much progression of it since Boston.
Yeah,
like they weren't on at all, and Bea wasn't on in Philly, and she wasn't. Well, her friend Jamie Hayter was on this week, but we didn't see B at all.
Yeah,
and Jamie's in this program with Brandy Rhodes, which is really weird.
Yeah,
which I didn't get it.
But I think if Tessa does go to AEW, they can have like a Lita Trish Stratus kind of feud with Tessa Blanchard and Britt Baker.
Yes, just that'd be one. Yeah, because I think they've worked together in the past too, because they had the match at All In.
Yeah,
and they've done stuff I think with Shimmer or some other women's promotions. They've done indie work together before, so they're familiar with each other. So they could bring in Tessa as a heel because Britt's very much a face. She's very much as like a top baby face in that division. And Tessa does work heel. She works heel in Women of Wrestling, the WoW promotion. So she's the heel champion there, and she can work either side. But I think she will be brought in as a heel in AEW at first. On the NXT coin, she would have instant classics with a lot of people there, but it's a matter of what happens to her from there for the main roster. We don't know. Of course, there's the aforementioned Flair match. There's a lot of the matches she can do, but we don't really know. I'm gonna say it's not true, that story, and that tweet has been deleted.
Yeah.
So it's probably not true. And plus, there's the whole Impact spoiler that we talked about off the air. We're gonna keep it off the air for the people who want to watch Impact, but I just think Blanchard's gonna stay in Impact until next year. Yeah. I think it's a 2-year deal. 2020's not here yet. She's staying where she is.
Yeah.
Rest of Bound for Glory. We pretty much touched on everything else. I think there was the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, which was won by Eddie Edwards, which makes sense. Eddie Edwards has always been presented as a big deal Impact. I think he was like a world title contender not too long ago.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like a year ago, like a year and a half ago. I think he was a big deal.
After Sam Callahan actually hit him in the face with a bat. He was in that world title picture because he got a lot of sympathy for actually getting hit in the face.
Yep, because heels doing heel heat. Yeah, they gave him a big deal. So Eddie Edwards, I think he's either going to go for world title or the X Division title. I think him and Ace Austin have history together, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So people have mentioned that they have like a feud and have some backstory together. They might do like an X Division title feud now that he has the belt, and Edwards can go for any title of his choosing. So we'll see what happens there. Anything else in the show for Bound for Glory that we've missed?
No.
All right.
Oh, Moose versus Ken Shamrock.
Oh, right. This is like one of the bigger deal matches. So Ken Shamrock, of course, came back recently out of nowhere, and I thought it was really interesting. Moose predictably won. This is like one of the easy predictions I thought was Moose going to win. I heard it was like, okay. I didn't know much about it. I heard it was like kind of dangerous in the parts too where Ken Shamrock could have gotten legitimately injured.
It was. Ken Shamrock did a lot of like dives and like over the top rope, and I think he did one suicide dive where like he like did a flip or something, and then literally I watched it. Moose like caught him and held him up and then put him on the ground before he like broke his neck. Like, it was crazy.
So yeah, there was maybe like a miscommunication, but yeah, I heard it was like a spectacle. It was probably more of a moment than a match. It sounds like
because Ken Shamrock was the first TNA Impact
NWA,
NWA, but
when
it
they
was still
started,
their first champion. Mm-hmm. So that's what they were going through that during the whole match, saying, "Oh, he's the first champion," and it's such a special moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard it was like why like one of them. It was a match, and it wasn't like great, but at least Ken Shamrock's okay, so that's good. He's not hurt or anything, but it happened. I don't know if Ken Shamrock's gonna stick around. Moose, of course, is an Impact. His big name in Impact. He's been around for a while. He's been coming up a lot. But yeah, that was Bound for Glory. It was a good show from what I understand. Yeah, Impact will be on TV, on Access TV, on Tuesday from this recording, which is great. We get to see more wrestling.
Yes.
After that, we're going to switch over to back to the American promotions. We're going to head over to All Elite Wrestling. AEW, this is an interesting report. Since their episode is airing the day before Halloween, they're going to be in Charleston, West Virginia, and they're going to be handing out Rick and Morty masks to the crowd. I heard about this tweet from our producer, Tim, who was like, I don't get if this is a joke or not, but it's real. Mm-hmm. So they're going to hand out Rick and Morty masks to the people in attendance of Charleston, West Virginia. Cody tweeted about this, I think it was Thursday, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess it's a deal because I think the deal is that TNT like own Adult Swim. Or like they have like a partnership with them or something like that.
Or
they're like
probably
affiliated.
I think they're owned by Viacom, which owns Cartoon Network and Adult Swim.
Yeah, it's like this very like extension upon extension.
TNT's owned by Turner Broadcasting.
Yeah, Turner Broadcasting. So TBS and all those other companies. So yeah, they're doing. Plus, I think they have like their next season premiering soon. So
in
it's
November 7th or so.
It's early November.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have the new season coming up. Cross promotion deal. They get them together. There you go. Interesting story. Also on AEW Dynamite this week, we have the Tag Team Finals, which I'm really excited for.
I'm also a little worried that since it's going to be a Halloween-themed show, that they're going to be kind of silly through it. It's fine. It's Halloween, but I just want them to like really take the tag team match seriously.
I think they will. I think it might main event because, it's a title match. It's the big deal. It's your first inaugural champions. This is going to be the main event or the top of the hour.
I hope they have at least an hour time limit because it's a title match.
Yeah, no, you have to have a winner.
And they got to go like 40 minutes. Like, they got to
go
a long time. Maybe not 40, but
the Lucha Bros can definitely go like as long as they want.
Yeah.
SCU, Scorpio definitely can. Kazarian's definitely older. So I think he could, but he probably wouldn't be in the match. He probably wouldn't be as involved as, say, Scorpio Sky and the Lucha Brothers would. This tag team tournament has been really well received. I have enjoyed a lot of the matches.
Yes.
Probably my favorite match has been the Bucks versus Private Party in Boston. Mm-hmm. That was probably the best match so far. This week they had some really good ones. Private Party and Lucha Bros was a lot of fun. It was probably the better tag match that night.
Yes.
SCU versus Dark Order. My only concern, I guess my big concern with this tournament is that they telegraphed this tournament from the start on DC. I'm like, okay, that's a standoff. Then it really became obvious when they attacked Daniels in Philadelphia. I'm like, oh, yep, that's your tag final.
I'm surprised, but I'm glad that they've kind of made a story out of it because I thought Dark Order was going to go all the way.
Yeah.
As much as I didn't want it to happen, I kind of thought it was going to happen because they got the bye and they were getting pushed. But then now they got the story with the Lucha Bros and SCU, and I love it. I love it.
The writing was on the wall for the Dark Order when they did not show them at all on TV until this week.
Yeah.
That they didn't talk about them much at all. They showed no vignettes for them, and it's like, oh well. Then they have the story of SCU. It's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious now. That's like my one gripe of the tournament, that they kind of telegraphed it. I mean, the other gripe, this is out of AEW control, is the Luchasaurus injury, which that that made me sad because that was like the day of it happened, and I'm like, that would have been such a more fun match. Of course, we still got Marco Stunt doing silly things with the Lucha Brothers, and it took him like 20 minutes to put him away, but it's whatever. It was still a fun match in my opinion, but it was kind of weird with the rules and everything like that. But yeah, tag finals will be there. I don't know if we have anything else announced right now for Charleston.
I know they say John Moxley is going to be in action. Chris Jericho is going to be in action.
Jericho's wrestling.
I think that's all about it.
Yeah, we don't know who yet. Time for recording. This is being recorded on a Saturday. We don't know much of the card aside from the tag team final, but I remember I said in episode 3 of the show that Lucha Brothers are going to win. Yes. I stand by that.
I agree.
I think it's going to be a really fun match. They've also wrestled before, SCU and Lucha Brothers. They did a fight for the Fallen, and Lucha Brothers handily won. Of course, there was no story in that match compared to this time. But Christopher Daniels and I was set to be out in the kayfabe like 6 to 8 weeks, I heard. So we probably won't see him. I think the winner of the match, Lucha Brothers, I think will probably have a title defense at Full Gear. Maybe they might do a rematch, or they'll probably do like their first title defense against another team. Mm-hmm. I think the winner of the Bucks and Santana and Ortiz will probably be next in line for a title shot after Full Gear.
Yeah.
Which I think I could see being Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
I think they need to win more because they're still pretty new to the roster, and I think
they haven't had a match yet.
Plus, they had a squash.
They had one match.
They had a squash match.
Yeah.
It was like all right. It was pretty fun. They also had that 6-man tag on DC, but I think
so 2 matches. Never mind.
Yeah, but we haven't seen like a ton of them. So I think, plus they have history with the Lucha Brothers, both in Impact and in AEW when they first debuted.
Yep.
I think it makes the most sense for Santana and Ortiz to go after them. Of course, Full Gear predictions are for next episode, so that's off to the side for now. Sticking to that, we'll go across to WWE. Crown Jewel is a thing, and Saudi Arabia, and I do not care. Quite frankly,
care.
It's weird. It's like I think a 7-match card, and it's a glorified house show. The things of note, I guess, are going to be we have WWE title match between Brock and Cain Velasquez, and it's going to be like, okay. I mean,
I hope Brock wins. Like, as much as I hate Brock as champion, I hope he wins because I hope they don't put the belt on Cain Velasquez.
Look, Cain Velasquez has been training to be a pro wrestler for I think a decent while now. He had that match AAA where he did a Hurricanrana, which is like, wow. But it's also like, what else can you do? He did do stuff. To be fair, he can do stuff, but it's also concerning. It's Brock Lesnar. And then will Brock let him do it? Probably not.
But Cain Velasquez also doesn't look that great.
Yeah, he's kind of like he has like an average build. Of course, he can beat you up for sure.
Oh, trained fighter. Hell,
I wouldn't. I'm not going to screw with that guy. But yeah, it's going to be. I don't really care. I think Brock will win. And I don't know what Cain wants to go full time. For understand, Cain would like to work full time. He's really trying to get better. So it's good on Cain. But I just think you can't have a guy with like 3 months of experience come in and beat Brock Lesnar for the title.
This is just something I think the Saudis wanted to see. The officials.
They paid for it. Plus, like I know, like Saudis been big on like other sports as of late. They've been big on boxing, which explains the Tyson Fury situation, and they've been big on like other combat sports. So I guess that makes sense. But Velasquez is signed at this point. Yeah. So I think Velasquez has more going on after the show. I don't know where he's not drafted anywhere either.
No.
So we don't know where Velasquez will go once this match is done. People might say he might go to Raw, because Ray is on Raw, and they have that. Of course, they have that bond together because they're both they have Mexican heritage and everything. So I could see them maybe teaming up. They are teaming up at a house show actually. Mm-hmm. So I think they're gonna put him on Raw, probably build him up more, and who knows? We'll see from there. I'm interested, but I don't have high hopes. Yeah. I hope they let him do the AAA stuff, but probably not because it's Brock.
Yeah.
And Brock probably doesn't like Cain Velasquez that much out of character. That's me guessing. I'm probably wrong. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We also have the aforementioned Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman match and poor Strowman.
Which I'm not that upset about. I mean, they've done wrestler versus boxer. They've done Muhammad Ali versus Gorilla Monsoon, and then recently they did Floyd Mayweather and Big Show.
That was actually good too.
That was good.
That was actually good. And did Floyd win? I'm pretty sure Floyd won.
He knocked him out with some brass knuckles,
which is awesome. That was actually a really good match. So I think Fury's gonna win. I feel bad for Braun at this point because like this is all they really do from him anymore is have him do these comedy angles where they just make him look stupid.
Yeah.
They had this interesting altercation. They had like them combat at the Performance Center, which is like okay, I like when feuds do that, but people didn't like it apparently.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever. We also have the tag team turmoil match, which we talked about earlier, with all the tag teams on the main roster competing for the World Cup, and there's no Shane McMahon this time, thank God. So I don't really care. I guess if I had to pick, I'm going to say Viking Raiders, because they just won the tag belts, and they've been pushed as like a big deal on the main roster. And this could be where like the New Day show tension. Uh-huh. If they don't win, maybe we'll see something, but it's a house show, so I'm going to say no. Depends where they go in the match also. There's the 20-man Battle Royale to see who faces AJ Styles that same night for the U.S. title.
That's what I'm most excited about is
I'm
the
interested.
Battle Royale in the U.S. title match. The thing with the tag team turmoil match is kind of just like...
It's a thing.
It sums it up exactly how WWE feels about their tag team division. They don't really care. It's kind of... is sad is they just gets kind of thrown together. Oh, well, now it's for the World Cup, best tag team in the world. It's like, well,
They don't work for your company though. They're in AEW, and by that I mean the Lucha Brothers.
but it's like with the best in the world, Shane McMahon.
I get PTSD from that.
They were hyping that up for weeks and weeks and weeks, but this is just kind of just like, oh, here,
It's a
best
thing.
tag team in the world.
Yeah, it's like, plus status to sit there and like, yay, wrestling, as they sit there on their phones and their comfy sofas in the crowd.
The thing about the Saudi shows that I really, really hate is how they're making such big changes to like storylines and everything just for this
This glorified house show.
Yeah, it's
because like after the show, like nothing of it matters anymore. They just go to the next pay-per-view, which is Survivor Series, which we haven't seen a lot of mention of yet. They're waiting for like probably the week after to really start building, because it's gonna be like November when it's over. Only like 3 weeks till the Survivor Series once this is all said and done. But to be fair, that's just, I think they mean network versus network.
Yeah,
that's all it's gonna be. So it won't matter in the long run.
Yeah, and it's just like they just make these changes because the Saudi officials want to see it. Like the thing that still makes me laugh is during the first Greatest Royal Rumble, they wanted Eddie Guerrero and Yokozuna to be there, but it's like, oh, they dead. They're dead.
I'm sorry, they have a case of they're dead. Oh, what about then they have the Hiroki Sumo come out. It's like, can you squint? It looks like Yokozuna.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's quite the story.
And it's just like, so they're kind of like making their storylines to have how they want it, and that's not how it should go.
No,
because if you do that with like any other fan, that just wouldn't work.
It would not.
But we're also not paying $20 million.
Right, yeah, we're not paying that much money.
But still, like, if they did this to 10-year-old me, Undertaker would have been champion for 5 years straight.
That's true. yeah, but let's also ignore the Taker vs. Goldberg match that happened. That was that. Let's move on from that. But moral of the story is Saudi Arabia shows are not good for the business at all, and
like
I'm interested for all the wrong reasons. I just want to see a car crash. That's what it's gonna be.
I think it's great that they can have these shows in Saudi Arabia, but I think they should keep the regular storylines go straight through.
Like just past it, because like the women have taken a back seat.
Yeah.
Which, another opinion of mine, women are the best thing about the main roster right now, because they consistently deliver, and they have like more. The whole Bayley stuff that's been happening has been really interesting, because her whole change of character has been fun. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks had put on one of the best matches of the year for the main roster so far in the Hell in a Cell match. The one good Hell in a Cell match from that show.
Yeah.
We've had the women's tag titles are becoming more of a big deal with Kairi Sane and Asuka, which is awesome. NXT have been delivering a lot, because that's a whole different thing. They've just been more consistent, but it's a shame that we're not getting Evolution either as of right now. And, I just think, women are doing better, and it sucks they're given a backseat because they can't compete in Arabia because, limited capabilities.
And I think the general public in Saudi Arabia are kind of like getting kind of sick of it too, because they're actually WWE fans, so they I hope they think like us in that aspect.
I hear that they do.
Because even like the last Super Showdown,
they showed women, they popped for it.
Yeah, and but the crowd was smaller.
Yeah,
it was a smaller stadium, but the crowd was even smaller. So I think they're getting kind of sick of the
only the guys can compete and the women can't. Like, I don't think a lot of the women would want to do it anyway, because I think people like Sonya Deville would not do it because like the whole LGBT stuff, and she is lesbian. I don't think Becky would do it because I don't think she agrees with the rights. I only think people I could see doing are probably like the bigger names, like if Ronda Rousey ever comes back, which I don't want her to for the record. Maybe like they would do it for like the publicity and everything. Plus, I think they'd be kind of forced to do it because of how big they are, whether they like it or not.
The Saudi fans are going to sick of it's just a house show. Like nothing's going to happen. Like
exactly.
They'll be back in 6 months.
Yeah,
I think what they should do is just classic wrestling booking. Have they could request like a hero or something, like Roman Reigns could come in or whatever, but then he gets screwed over. So then that may
like the Shane McMahon match.
That may upset the Saudis and the Saudis officials. That's fine. We'll be back 6 months later. Wait till you get the heel. Come back to see the heel get his ass kicked.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I mean, yeah. But still, I just don't think they're good. Nothing of note happens, and after this is done, we'll move on to Survivor Series in the main roster, and plus we have War Games happening at NXT, which we'll get to in a bit.
A lot of screwy finishes in those shows.
But that's so. Moving on from what's happening on the one count, we'll go to we're going to check in on the Wednesday Night Wars, since we have a lot to talk about NXT and AEW. So we've had about 4 weeks so far. I guess the big thing of note, we'll go from like this week to the past weeks. This week we had the big news. Finn Balor turned heel, and nobody saw it coming. Wow.
Our prince has returned.
As our thumbnail says. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, like I said in the intro, I was watching at home. I watched NXT live, and I'm also like, okay, here comes... I'm like, okay, Ciampa came out first. I'm like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. Continue the storyline. I'm like, oh, he's all alone. Johnny comes out, and I'm like, oh, I was really happy for it because, DIY are back in the ring together again. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. They're all standing off and everything. Finn Balor comes out. I'm like, oh, hey, it's Finn. All right, we have a 3-person standoff. So in my mind, I'm thinking, this is War Games. Who's the fourth man? Is it John Morrison? And then Finn Balor steps forward. I'm like, okay. Takes off his jacket. Oh, they're going to fight. Wait, Finn Balor, you kicked Johnny Gargano in the head. What's going on here? And the crowd lost it, too. And so did all of social media. So
I did. My jaw hit the floor.
yeah, I was like sitting in like one of my chairs, like my recliner at home. I was in my living room, and I had I stood up like out of my chair, like standing up, and my jaw hit the floor like yours. And I'm like, they're doing it. So at first we're all thinking that he joined the era because it looked.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because after that, so he has his back turned to the era. They beat up Ciampa. Ciampa gets laid out. Balor just steps out of the ring, beats up Gargano more, does the whole dropping into the barricade. Barricade falls down. He beats him up more. They are just watched at this point because Ciampa's down. He gets to the ramp, does the whole brainbuster thing, which looked nasty, but it looks so good at the same time. So, like our thumbnail, Finn's on the ramp, pointing down at Gargano, whereas they are doing their signature pose in the ring. So it's like, ooh, he's doing something else. So he looks like he's gone rogue. But this opens up the possibility of other storylines.
And I'm really glad he didn't join the Undisputed Era because it wouldn't have made sense because Finn was never a Ring of Honor champion.
Which that's just continuity. Like as fans, that's our continuity for the Undisputed Era.
Yes.
We don't know if it's an actual thing in NXT, but it's just like the fans make that note of attention to detail. But yeah, Finn's very much a New Japan guy, whereas they were very ROH guys. But the possibilities that this opens up. So back in the summer on Twitter, Adam Cole and AJ Styles got into a little bit of a spar. They call each other out and they mentioned like the stables coming together, and I'm like, ooh. A little bit of foreshadowing. It could just be fantasy booking for all I know. But now with Finn Balor here and he's turned heel and the OC are heels on the main roster, of course line doesn't really matter anymore at the same time. Does this mean we might get the OC on NXT eventually? Not right now, but maybe like months down the line.
Could this be the War Games match?
Like the OC versus Undisputed Era?
Yeah.
It'd be very soon for them to bring them all down because I don't think AJ. We don't know who he's facing at Crown Jewel yet. We don't know if that's gonna be like a full-time feud for him. Also, aside from the Kevin Owens thing, that's the other thing that's happening. So he has that going on. Plus the OC are feuding with the Street Profits.
Yeah.
So they have stuff going on right now, but maybe like 6 months down the line, maybe like a 6-man or like a 1v1 between Adam Cole and Finn Balor and like AJ Styles versus Adam Cole. We might see that in the future. But it's tough to say. Finn might just be going rogue because he did say, for those who haven't seen it yet, he was on WWE Backstage, the FS1 show they do after SmackDown last night. He said in an interview that Prince may be back. So Prince Devitt, as he was known in Japan, that like character may return to our TV screens. The only like drawback we have is that you can't do like the finger gun, like looks like he's shooting because TV implications,
And then I think Bullet Club still owns that in Japan.
Yeah, they definitely do because that might be a cease and desist before we know it.
Yeah.
Plus they can't even say Bullet Club because of that trademark.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough, but they might like Triple H might just evolve the character, which I'm sure Triple H can do. Which Triple H, he's a really good booker. But yeah, it's one of the more interesting things. So, but yeah, but speaking of the Undisputed Era, of course it doesn't make sense on paper. But just the image of him maybe eventually joining. Of course, our continuity would be annoyed at that point because the whole ROH champion thing.
And honestly, Adam Cole is definitely the leader of that group. And
he might get overshadowed.
He's getting overshadowed.
It might be like the CM Punk joins the Nexus thing with Wade Barrett.
Yeah,
it could be like that.
Or like it'll be like a civil war like they did in Bullet Club, Cody versus Omega.
Oh yeah, because they had Bullet Club Elite and they had like the original Bullet Club. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had that whole split. I think it was that's how Kenny versus Cody happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was last year. Yep, that was like a July show, I think. That's after Kenny won the belt. Yeah, so it's still interesting. I do like how NXT is getting a lot more unpredictable. That's one of the big things about it going live. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I love about it going live. Because like the women's division, too, has developed a lot in its own right. Because you don't know like who's challenging Shayna yet. Because like Rhea Ripley's made a case. Io's made a case. Candice might be trying to work her way back. Bianca Belair made a case. So everybody in the division is making a case to go after Shayna. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Ripley or Io. We don't know. Looks like they're going to clash at some point. But it's really interesting there. Plus, we already talked about the women's tag titles. They're coming to NXT, which is going to be a lot of fun. See them getting more exposure, which is awesome. The reception for Kairi and Asuka is going to be big this week when they come back against Team Kick. I'm really excited to see them back. Kairi's always been like one of the most lovable people in NXT, but now she's a heel.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. We've also had North American title match. How we forget that amazing triple threat match. Yeah. Keith Lee. Oh, my God. So the big two things for me in this match were the that Tower of Doom they did. So they have Keith Lee, I think, doing the powerbomb.
Oh, yeah. And then
Dijakovic has him up for the superplex. and he
And
holds
he's trying to hold
he
it.
holds
They
it in
couldn't-
midair for like 2 seconds, and I'm like, is this going wrong? But no, I think that was part of the spot. Keith Lee falls back like after he does the powerbomb, but he was fine, thankfully. But like Dijakovic and Roderick, I thought they were gonna get hurt, but no, it was just a delayed Tower of Doom, and it looked amazing.
I think it didn't go like 100% to plan. I don't think Dijak could get Roderick Strong all the way up there, which it's fine. That's a tough thing to do.
It's really hard to do.
But I honestly think Keith Lee kind of saved them because he came down but he kind of like fell out of the ring, which I don't think was supposed to happen. So he kind of like made that change, that quick calculation, and kind of just saved their ass a little bit.
It was insane, but yeah, everyone was okay, which is awesome.
Yes.
And then Keith Lee, like a little bit after that, him and Dijak, well, they get rid of Roderick Strong. They're outside the ring, and then Keith Lee and Dijak, they look at each other and be like, let's finish this. It's a very big anime moment. It's hilarious to me. They get in the ring. They fight for a bit. I think there's they did like another like big spot in the corner. I forgot what it was. They did something crazy again because they always do that. And then so Dijak gets out of the ring. Keith Lee does a Tope Con Hero, and I'm like, are you kidding me? We talk about Ace Romero. We also you can't forget about Keith Lee and his incredible athleticism. Every time I watch Keith Lee, I'm just impressed. I bask in his glory, pun intended. But I don't get why Keith Lee isn't. Well, he'll be champion someday. I think maybe he'll be.
I think he's still making. I think he just has to get over this thing with
Dijak. Yeah, because they're very even.
I think Dijak and Keith Lee are kind of like the complex with like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, like fighting forever.
They can't have a bad match. They never do,
and they can't really get away from each other. They're always going to be with each other.
Even like 5 years later, when they're on the main roster, at that point, they might still be like on the same brand. We never know.
Yeah.
Maybe what if they team up one day? That'd be two behemoths teaming up. Because
the new bar.
Because they have the PWG background. They came in. Now they're doing all this stuff, all the crazy stuff in NXT. They've had some great TV matches this week. The one in the summer, which was like another TV match of the year, and the one they did one on NXT in the first premiere, which is really good too. I thought the summer match was better, but these two, they can't have a bad match. It's just immense chemistry. Also on NXT, we had Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. A nice match, good opener. Io Shirai tried to cost Ripley, but Ripley still won. Puts her over strong and go back to the women's title thing. We had, who else was on this week? We had, Cameron Grimes and Matt Riddle. If you saw that match, that was a really fun match.
Yeah.
And like the added element of Tyler Bate in the crowd.
Yeah.
So Tyler Bate, we don't know what's happening with him in NXT UK. I don't know if you watched NXT UK this week, but he was interviewed backstage. He's like, he talked about all the new guys. He was real excited for a kid debuting next week on NXT UK. He's like excited for all the new faces coming up. So it unfortunately looks like he's going to be leaving, which does make me sad because I really liked him in NXT UK, and he put on the match of the year right now for me with Walter at Cardiff. So it sucks that but him in NXT US, I think it's well deserved. He gets more prominence, and plus he's just a really good wrestler. Plus I loved like the little spar he had with Grimes after the match where Grimes gets in his face and he gets that great punch to him. If I'm being honest, I think he has one of the best punches in the business.
Yeah,
I love his punches. But yeah, the match with Riddle was fun.
Yeah,
it was really quick, and that match was really balls to the wall and really fun. Of course, I thought Riddle was going to win, but Grimes has been pushed more week by week, which is good to see. He's a really good wrestler in his own right. His work as Trevor Lee and Impact was great. But one of my big moments in the match was they were chanting Riddle.
Because he did a jackhammer.
Yeah, he did.
Honestly, he did it better than Goldberg.
I call it the bro hammer because it's Matt Riddle.
Oh, yeah.
He did that. And he only got a 2 count, which was funnier. So it didn't win the match, which is even funnier. It's more of a spar at Goldberg, which I just love it. Matt Riddle. I hope one day they get that match and Riddle just wins. But Riddle has a beef with like so many WCW guys at this point where I'd be cool if any of them happening first. But yeah, nice match. I think someone theorized I think it was Tom Campbell from Cultaholic again. He theorized that Matt Riddle could turn heel based off his verbal, how he was acting verbally. And I'm like, because he was getting more frustrated. He was having a hard time with some things. Like, I don't see it right now.
He's kind of like that RVD. He's kind of that cool stoner dude.
Plus, people like him. He's so likable. So I can't see it now. Maybe like a year from now, maybe.
You have to change up his music because he can't be a heel and come out and
with that GTA, like that GTA like music basically.
Yeah,
he's just I don't see it right now, but maybe like a year down the line because I thought he was going to turn heel against Dream back in Takeover New York because he's doing a lot of very vicious things. But it's like he's also like an MMA fighter, so it's like never mind, that makes sense. But yeah, Matt Riddle gets some more momentum after the NXT title defense. He lost. We also had the women's tag title, number one contender match. Team Kick won against the other Horsewomen.
Yeah.
It was a match. It was really quick.
Yeah.
Not really much to it. Let's see what else on the I'm trying to remember what else. Other things of note. I didn't remember much else. Oh, cruiserweight action. Leo Rush had a stand up with Angel Garza.
Yep.
So Angel Garza is on 205 Live now. So moving a lot of the NXT cruiserweights over to 205 Live as well. And I think this goes back to the idea of that 205 Live may get absorbed in NXT, which I think works out a lot.
I thought they already canceled 205.
No, 205 happened last night, actually. Oh. They did Orty Lockin versus Leo Rush. I don't know what happened, but that was last night. They're still doing it on Fridays now. But you watch cruiserweights at Full Sail, and people care. You watch it like anywhere else, like in WWE. It's like, whatever. Just
the SmackDown I went to in July, most of the people left.
Yeah, it's the golf clap match, as Matthew from Botchamania described it. So I would prefer they just have all cruiserweights at NXT now because people just care. Yeah. Like when I watch them on NXT, it's like, wow, this is actually great because people actually interact with the match, and it's a lot more fun. But that's my opinion. On the Dynamite side, we had Pittsburgh was this week. They had, of course, we talked about the tag match. They had the 2 tag matches. We already talked about those. We had Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela again, and a good match.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. They have really good chemistry together, but it's like we went to AEW Dynamite in Boston. It's pretty much like the same deal. We saw a lot of the same stuff there. It was still really fun to watch. They didn't have stipulation this time because they had the street fight, unsanctioned match, lights out, whatever it was called. Fun match, really good. Speaking of Kenny Omega, he won the AAA title this week.
Yeah, beat
Phoenix. So a lot of people have talking about this is like a really good match.
Isn't their title called the Omega Champion?
It's like the Mega Championship. It's like this really long Spanish name that I would butcher if I say because I'm not good at Spanish. But yeah, he beat Phoenix in a really good match. People describe it like one of their best matches of the year, but I think someone put it right. It's like it'd be a match of the year if more people would watch AAA.
Yeah.
Are they only on Twitch or are they also on Fight?
I have no idea.
They're on Twitch. They're on Overlay. We can see literally they're streaming right now. Type of recording. Other things on the show, we had Britt Baker having her homecoming, which was a very nice moment. She won it was a match against Jamie Hayter. Mm-hmm. Really weird stuff with the Brandy Rhodes thing, which I don't get.
Yeah.
Because I don't like Brandy Rhodes in general. But what happened? Main event happened. John Moxley versus Pac in a great match.
Yes.
And the finish, it makes sense for the booking.
Yeah.
Because you can't have either guy lose right now.
Yeah.
Like properly, because they lost a tag match, but that wasn't really clean. So I think
I think it's also kind of remind people that hey, we have these time limits.
Yes, which is good.
Yeah.
Because we only saw it at Fyter Fest as of right now. Back when Cody versus Darby happened, and Cody couldn't win. It was really good because we never saw it before. We totally forgot about it. Now it's a thing here. It's like, okay, but to be fair, it's like you can't have either guy lose because they're very strongly booked. They're big names right now in AEW. You can't let them lose. So it was good. The match ended. Moxley attacked the ref. That all happened, and that was the end of that episode.
We also had that stuff with Jericho and Cody, the Inner Circle.
Oh yeah, that's right. How to forget about that? That was a great segment. That was a really fun segment. So Cody did that little jab at WWE. It's like, oh, Jericho, this isn't like the company that we came from. I can just step over that invisible wall and come up and beat you up. And it's like, oh, it's 4 against 1. What are you gonna do? And then Dustin Rhodes came out. It's still 4 against 2. And then MJF comes out. He's looking very smug. He's like, oh, who cares about the guy who wears a scarf? And I'm like, you did.
I thought that was hilarious.
That was really funny.
Digging at himself.
Well, he didn't. He's just being delusional.
Wears a scarf.
He's worn one in AEW. He has, like in the videos he used to do, and plus, of course, the list of Jericho. He wore it all the time. And then lastly, DDP showed up.
Yeah,
a really good moment. Of course, we've seen DDP in the Hype package that they showed in Philadelphia the week before this. So it wasn't like a big surprise. Like, oh, it's still cool seeing DDP on television. He looks great.
Yeah.
But, DDP yoga. So he's going to look good. They had a really fun segment. One of my favorite parts of the segment is when they go over to the Dippin' Dots booth and Jericho goes, not the Dippin' Dots. It was probably the funniest part of the whole segment. And then Jericho, on like the picture ad break, he's like, he holds up his ticket. He looks really like defeated. He's like, no, it's you get Cody because he got separated. It's like he clearly got beaten up, but it was really funny. Mm-hmm. So that was like that and the tag match were like my favorite parts of that show. But I think for the show that was better. I think NXT was better solely for the last half hour.
I think NXT's been better.
All the way through, or
I think
majority?
So. They've been having better matches, with the exception of a couple.
Yeah, there's been they do have a lot of matches on the shows in general.
But the thing is, like NXT has been producing bigger moments, bigger headlines. Ciampa returns, Balor turns heel. That is what's getting.
Balor just shows up in general in like the first week.
Exactly. That is what is going to get people's attention.
So since the Wednesday Night Wars started, my score is NXT 3, AW 1. That's my score right now. So the 1 week was Boston, because that's kind of biased because we were there. But also I thought it was just better when I watched it back. I'm like, yeah, but in NXT they only had like Walter versus Kushida, which was awesome. And they didn't have much else on that show from what I'm trying to remember. So that's probably why. It was kind of like a filler episode. Oh, no, they had Gulak and Leo Rush, which was good too. Yeah. But I had to watch it without like the picture-in-picture, so I missed a lot of it, to be fair, in the playback. That's a drawback to watching NXT on the network, because they don't have the picture-in-picture ads played in. So it's like, you miss a lot of the action.
Yeah.
So you have to watch it live to get everything. But yeah, I think NXT, as you said, they've been making these big deal moments. And like, my opinion on the whole ratings thing, ratings don't matter anymore. No. I'm being completely honest, because here's the thing. WWE has NXT on the network. There's Hulu, there's YouTube, and there's just social media in general. So you should not care what a TV number says. Okay, if anything, you should want AEW to win the ratings, because they're the newer company. They're not as known. They want to get that, I guess, like the partnership money from TNT and any other like stockholders. They want that more, because they don't have as nearly much success as WWE does. You should want that. And with the accessibility of, you can say both shows. You can watch Dynamite like on the replays. You can watch it on demand now. That's what I did this week. So yeah, that's not a big deal. It's good for AEW, of course, getting like 1 million viewers. They didn't get 1 million this week, but it's still really good what they're getting. And for NXT's sake, NXT is watched. It's the most watched thing on the network. Triple H has said that. So I don't think Triple H should really care what the numbers say. I don't think he does either, because he's still doing his thing, and it's not affected him at all.
And it's honestly, to quote McFoley, it's not the numbers or the dates or anything that matter, just the moments that are remembered.
Yes, and the moments that are remembered from this month right now, for me, across both shows, it's, of course, Ciampa coming back. I guess for the wrong reasons, Jake Hager showing up, but I still laugh at that whenever I watch it back. I just laugh at it because I think of 5-star wrestling. And we also had, let's see.
Balor coming in.
Balor showing up for the first time. The heel turn this week.
Heel turn.
Riho winning the title was a nice moment. I will admit that was a good moment, but it wasn't like amazing.
Yeah.
Since AEW, let's see, we had the brawl this week on AEW Dynamite, the whole backstage bit, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. We had I'm trying to think of AEW stuff. Let's see, MJF. I guess MJF beating up Jericho was funny in Boston, but that was kind of just funny.
Yeah.
AEW moments. The tag team tournament has been fun. Private Party winning was a big deal. It was a really good moment for them. Lucha Brothers and SCU. I guess like the power driver on the ramp, which was really scary. That's been like highlighted a lot since it happened.
I think that's the best story they have actually right now, because even Omega and Moxley, not much.
They don't interact.
They just like every time. It's just,
ever since like the barbed wire broom when we went to Boston was like, oh, it's it.
That's kind of like all they've done. And like one other thing, like there was nothing this week.
No, there wasn't anything. Last week they had the tag match, which is really good. They've been focusing a lot more on like what I think AEW needs to do is establish more of like the lesser known guys, like aside from like the guys we see all the time, like Moxley, Pac, the Elite in general. Santana Ortiz have been getting more introduced, which is good. Inner Circle's been getting fleshed out more, but like, we gotta think past them. We gotta think more of like the tag teams, like the Dark Order. The people don't know much about them.
Yeah.
That when I saw they weren't on TV at all until this week, I'm like, they're not winning. It was more predictable for it because I feel really bad. Hybrid 2. Where have they been? They made look like idiots because like the whole Jay and Silent Bob thing happened. Jack Evans was booked for Janela. They switched to Kenny last minute.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was supposed to be a match this week, but they changed it to Kenny, and then he got put on AW Dark instead. Other people, Luchasaurus is injured. Sadly, we can't do anything about that. He was going to be on TV, but I'm not going to see him for a little bit, which I'm still sad about. Other people, the women's division, they've been showcasing like the main, like I'd say like 5 people, which is like Riho, B. Priestley, Britt Baker, Nyla Rose. And like Amy Sakura has been promoted a lot, and like Allie.
Yeah.
But they have like a couple of people, like Sadie Gibbs has not been seen. I heard a lot of good things about her. What's her name? Penelope Ford hasn't been seen on TV yet. Who's like Joey Janela's valet. So we haven't seen a lot of people, and I guess other people we haven't seen. Wardlow's been hyped up more.
Yeah.
Saw Wardlow for the first time since All Out, which is good. I don't know when he's going to show up. Maybe Full Gear. Hangman's been fleshed out more. Hangman's been getting more of his steam back, which is good, and people are starting to like him more, which is good because I think Hangman's a really good talent. And they're having a rematch for him and Pac, which I didn't know until this week. They rescheduled the rematch for Full Gear, which I don't know who will win. It's hard to say. Mm-hmm. Who are the people that they could use more of? Anybody on your mind?
Nothing I can think of.
Mainly the other tag teams are what I'm thinking.
Like, I think they should have Kenny on TV more because he's just such a good talent, and he's the best they got.
Yeah, wrestling-wise, he's been really good.
Yeah, I think he should be like the Roman Reigns of AEW.
Like the marketed face. Yeah, because it's somebody else, too. It's not like a WWE guy.
Yeah.
Which is good, because like Cody's been doing a good job. Of course, we only saw him wrestle once on TV, but he's been appearing every week at least. Yeah. Except for like, I think Philly didn't show up, but I think he's in a dark match anyway. But yeah, Cody's been doing a good job. I don't think he's going to win as of right now, but he's trying to win me over. Maybe he might win, but I don't think he will. I think the person that's going to beat Jericho is going to be Kenny, to, like, complete his redemption arc, or it's going to be Moxley. Mm-hmm. One of those two are going to beat Jericho, I think, if Cody doesn't. Other people, Sean Spears, he's been kind of like put to the side too. Yeah, which kind of sucks. Joey's been getting more exposure, which is good because I think Joey's been great. Jimmy Havoc had one TV match. He lost to Darby in that one match. Darby was off this week, but he's been on like every TV since then. Yeah, before then, I should say. But yeah, they've been showcasing a lot of like the big guys, and they were trying to get more people built up. But it goes back to that thing that Jericho said on that radio show he did. It's like, okay, we have to build up these guys in our own way. Like, people don't know who like this person is or this person is. They know who I am, of course, because of my past experiences. But it's like you have to build up these other guys at the same time, which is a really good strategy. They just need to execute it. Yeah, that's why one could serve for them. NXT has been doing really well for themselves with their presentation. They're like in a similar boat. Just introducing the new faces to people, like the casual fan, like other people that don't watch NXT at all, because they don't know like anybody pretty much, except for Finn Balor, if they watched it. So I think they need to do like more vignettes maybe, which they have done. Yeah. They've had that matches really well, but I think they've just been doing higher quality stuff. They've like taken weeks. They do like more character building instead of like matches, which is good. And I think this week was a good blend of character building and also just good matches. So they've been doing very good at that. And next week looks really good for them. Because we don't know much about Dynamite right now, but yeah, those are our current thoughts. Man, yeah, my score is NXT 3, AW 1 in the War, and I think probably the same boat. Yeah, 3-1. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying it's been back and forth, but yeah, those were our thoughts on the War. So that finishes up the check-in on that. Next, we're going to go on to the Sauna Seat. So the Sauna Seat is an open discussion led by one of us, and Eric's going to take us away with our Sauna Seat for this episode.
I am, and our topic this week in the Sauna Seat is, should CM Punk return? I honestly don't know.
It's tough.
It's a tough thing. Because like if he decides not to come back, it's business as usual. We just move on. But if he does come back, then besides hell officially freezing over, it changes the whole dynamic. Because like if he comes back, he's coming back 100%. I think. And so, but if he comes back, the big issue is who's his opponent going to be? Yeah. That's what's big. That's the big thing. Who is his opponent going to be? Because, like, if he comes in, he can't just go against, like, a Dolph Ziggler.
No, it has to be someone big. It has to be like a Daniel Bryan or a Shinsuke or, like, a Seth Rollins. It has to be like a Roman Reigns. It depends on how they bring him back, too. If he's a goodie or a baddie.
But, he can't come back against Seth for the title.
No, it's too soon.
Because, like, if he beats Seth, then it makes Seth their top guy. It makes your top guy, Seth Rollins, look weak.
Yeah, it does make him look good.
But if he loses, it makes CM Punk look like
not look smart.
Yeah, it's just not smart.
You have to like do in a non-title feud, I think. So yeah, probably like someone like in the mid card, like who'd be a good like AJ? No, AJ would be champion. Maybe. Ooh, they have to take the title off AJ.
I think the best opponent would be Roman Reigns because the position where he is in the card.
He's not in the title feud.
He can still be in the main event, but he can take a loss.
Yeah, he can put somebody over. Like he can put people over.
If CM Punk needs to get over,
which he doesn't, won't be the case. But it's a good way to bring him back to the TV and like remind people like who he is and like what he's about. If he's a good guy or a bad guy, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think it's a good one. And there's always been the report that he auditioned for Backstage, the FS1 show. And I think there's reports saying that FS1 moved on from him, which kind of a shame. But I know Punk was going for it. I don't think it's a big deal to him. But he's been open to returns more as of late. I think he said like, oh yeah, I'd be open to it.
I think he's kind of like everything that happened back in 2014 is kind of like in the backseat now. Yeah, he's letting it go, and Triple H has said, "Oh, yeah, we'll welcome him back."
Yeah, and Cody said too that he thinks he's going to go to WWE anyway. Yeah, there were rumors back at All Out when they were doing Starrcast that he was going to show up at All Out, but of course that never happened. Yeah. So yeah, and Cody said he wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if Cody. People thought he was working us, but he might be telling the truth the whole time. So it's hard to say if he did. Yeah, because which brand he would go to would be interesting because he can do things on both shows.
Be SmackDown.
I think SmackDown would want him more because big name, star power, SmackDown. I guess people would be more interested in SmackDown because they have the CM Punk factor. So, and plus he probably would rather go for the WWE title. Plus he could probably get his main event Mania match that he never got. Yeah. Depends on how they do it.
Well, no, champion. According to Vince, he was in the main event. He was to face the Undertaker.
29.
29, and then he
That wasn't the main event, but it was the
and
best.
then
It was the best match on the show.
And then he was in the WWE Championship match the year before with Chris Jericho.
Wasn't the main event. But yeah, both were
What
great.
are you talking about? It was the main event.
Both were great
It's good
matches.
shit.
Both of them were great, but it wasn't the main event, of course.
No.
Which it's a shame. But if he does come back, there's always an opportunity to go for it again. I'm of the mind that I'm okay if he doesn't come back, but if he does, I just hope I hope he could still go. But he's like what, mid-30s now?
I think
Mid-late?
so. No, he's 40.
Ooh, so yeah. My concern is if he could still go. Hopefully he can. Of course, I'm sure he go to the PC for a bit.
And
to
honestly,
get used to it.
I think he's fine with not doing the physical stuff anymore because he's doing pretty well for himself. You know, he's that
He does
movie
media.
coming out.
Yeah, he does media.
Comic books, media appearances and stuff. I think he's doing well for himself.
Yes, this is why he probably could just do if it works out, he could do the backstage thing, which that'd be fine. It'd be really cool to see him there. It gets more people interested in the show, as you talked about earlier, with other people coming on it. So it's really, I'm 50-50 of it. You know, if he does come back in the ring, I want to see if he could still go. It's the most important thing for me. I'm sure he'll still be able to talk and everything like that, for sure. But like, when it comes to this in ring, it's like I hope he's still able to go, if he's okay, if he's healthy and everything, gets into shape again. But if he goes and get a backstage role, that's totally fine. I'm sure that'll work out in its own right. And maybe he might get the itch again, but he would be fairly old by that point. So it's up to him, and I'm of two minds of it, as I said, but I think it's fine.
And also, if he does come back in ring, and like if he goes against like a Roman Reigns, what happens after? If he has to win, he has to win, or else like fans would just be disappointed.
Yeah, it would be a letdown.
Then they'd boo Roman again, and people are just starting to get behind Roman because of where he is.
Because what Roman's been through. Roman has been getting really good receptions as of late, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
He's really been, as like more of like a mid-card / like semi-main event guy. It's worked really well for him. And like, you know, he's making, it's not the best thing on the show, but he's making good of what he's been given. So he's been doing fine. And, you know, his whole story of the whole leukemia thing, it's amazing, quite frankly. Yeah. It's really good for him. And sure, he's not like everybody's favorite wrestler. I don't mind the guy anymore, but you know, he's still like delivering. He's still putting on nice matches here and there. Not the best matches, but they're still pretty good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, him being positioned as like the trademark guy, the main guy on SmackDown is good because you know he's really well known across pretty much everybody now these days, and it's good for him.
Yeah. So if CM Punk does come back, goes against Roman Reigns, have that match, if Punk wins, it's like, but then what? You know, it's not really black and white. Like, oh, he's back. Like,
he'd have to go for the title at that point.
What happens? Like, is it? But also, like, what's his contract to be? Is it going to be like a one-off thing? Is it a part-time, or is it going to be full-time?
That's because the big thing he wasn't great at was like his health on the road.
Yeah,
that was a really big thing for him.
Out. Yeah,
because the whole staph infection and everything like that. So his health will be a very big concern as well. So yeah, it's just. The big thing is his health and well-being is my big thing with him at this part of his life because he really needs to make sure he's okay, if he can still go and stay healthy. I'm sure, like, well, doctors are probably it's like they could do what they do with Daniel Bryan, where like the doctors help him out after every match if he needs it. But like, he has been injured before, so he probably wouldn't need it as much. But it'd still be good if he gets that extra treatment because of what happened in the past. But yeah, those are our thoughts about CM Punk's possible return. We don't know, but we're open to it. Moving on next to our next segment, No Holds Barred is back. This is our rant segment / I guess it'll be more of a discussion today. We're going to rant about stuff that's really like we think is dumb and bad and not great. So our topic this time is going to be the recently released WWE 2K20. Wow.
Oof.
Wow, what happened? So yeah, this came out on Tuesday. It had a really good marketing plan. The commercials were great for the game.
Yeah.
The showcase mode looked really promising, and you know the gameplay didn't look much different. But then you look at the graphics, and oof, I'm sad about it.
Well, the big thing was Ukes, who's been worked on basically every game, I think since SmackDown vs. Raw was around. They've been working on it for a while.
Even before that.
They pulled out, and then so they had to create everything from scratch.
So this is like a transitional year for the game, and it's not looking good because there's been a lot of videos online. There's the hashtag #Fix2K20, which has been trending like since it came out. So I've seen the clips of it. Someone's playing the showcase mode, doing the Hell in a Cell match between Charlotte and Sasha. So I think Sasha's in a pinning animation, where Charlotte's in a pinning, like she's pinning her, but she's like going around the ring in a square like really fast. It's like, what happened? It's like, what happened here? how did they let this happen? And it's not good.
Yeah.
I was shocked, but I'm also like, I can't help but laugh at this at the same time. Like, who?
Oh, no, it's pretty funny.
Who greenlit this? How?
It was pressure. The 2K was being pressured by WWE to make the deadline, and they definitely weren't ready.
No, they weren't. Because, like, you look at 2K's other games, NBA, that's, like, one of their biggest ones, and it does really well for itself. You also have Borderlands 3 came out in September. That's a 2K game. That's a really, really big deal, and it's done really good itself. So all these developers are focusing on those projects, whereas WWE is kind of put to the side because, it's not as well received. It gets really mixed reactions, like, these days.
But it's also, they've had the Ukes backing in the previous
and now
years.
It looks like Ukes is going to work with AEW for their video game because the Bucks and Kenny have confirmed there is an AEW video game, which it does look like Ukes may get involved with that, which is really interesting to me. I'm curious of how it'll play and like what studio might get involved with them. I don't know who it would be. Maybe like not EA Sports, but sticking to 2K20, yeah, it's a hot mess. I've been watching Pachidi play the My Career mode, and the characters are just so unlikable.
Yeah,
if you've been watching them,
the storyline is just like really dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of straightforward too. Like, it's kind of cool. It's like a look back on their careers and everything. But like you look at the characters, like these people are so unlikable and so dumb.
It's just dumb. And like the first thing is like they're in a fight with like a
the cafeteria.
Who like I saw like my female character. I made her like maybe like 6 feet tall, and like the chick she's fighting in high school was like 5'5".
Yeah,
like,
she gets beat up by her. I'm pretty sure Pachidi had like the same because Pachidi made his like character when I was watching the stream also like 6 foot tall. And she was called Madam Pachidi because play on words.
That's funny.
Yeah, and he also had H.A. Hazard because WCW reference. So yeah, it was really. Plus, I mean, the presentation of that like whole area and that quality is really low. It's like PS2, like early PS3 standards, if anything. Yeah. But yeah, it didn't look good. Of course, like I'm someone that doesn't mind the graphics most of the time, but like when you see the gameplay, it's like, oh, people saying, oh, it's just like the gameplay's taking a major step back, and I'm like, yeah, I can see it because the whole glitches, how like buggy it is, the creation suite. People like their faces change, the equipment gets too big for their heads.
That's where I've seen the biggest issues is with creating characters. There's
been like people lose their faces, and it's like not great. It looks really horrifying for some people. Like the masks don't even like properly like animate well. It's like just like a big straight line of like colors, and I'm like, what happened? Like how you messed up this program? Like I'd imagine they probably take like 2K19's creation suite, update it, and like add some new items, but there's probably a lot more to it, like of coding and everything. I don't make games. I'm not a developer at all. I don't have a CS degree. But yeah, it's a hot mess. And what I did instead of this was cancel my pre-order. And what we did the past like 12 hours here where we record is I brought Here Comes the Pain and SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 up. And we had fun playing that because they're just fun games that have aged well.
And I did not cancel my pre-order. So I got mine in this past Thursday, and I played a little bit. I haven't played too much of it. I haven't had many bug issues or glitches yet, but I haven't played too much yet. One thing I'm a little upset, they don't have Walter in it.
Yeah, the DLC has not been clear.
And usually it's if the roster by like WrestleMania, that's who is going to be in the game.
Usually.
And Walter's been here since January.
Yeah, he signed like in December.
Yeah, so we know he's a name that we know has been around. So I was a little upset. And then everything, I got with the pre-order, I got the bump in the night.
Yeah, the Bray Wyatt stuff.
It didn't come. I didn't get it.
Yeah, the report is that that's not out till like this coming week. So like that, everything about 2K Originals comes out like this coming week. So you got the Fiend and everything like this week because Halloween, I guess, or like development. I have no idea. It might come like there might be like a new patch with that included coming. That's all I know about that. Like I heard like one of the good things about the game that I hear is that they like the 2K Original stuff, like all the more fantasy stuff is really fun. But people are. It depends on the person for that. Like if they like that sort of stuff. I don't mind it. I think it's fun to have like some fun every now and again, make it more arcadey. But
they brought back the 2K Towers, which I think was the best thing.
Yeah, people really like that mode.
I think that was the best thing from 2K19. They brought that back and they've added more and like
they have like all these fantasy ones, like they have like different situations.
Yeah,
they have like really the Roman Reigns ones, like their big one for this year. That's the one they had for him, because the cover star thing. The showcase mode, I heard people have enjoyed that. Of course, that's where most of the bug. That's where a lot of glitches have came from. Of course, it's just showcase mode, just to the women this time. Yeah, I'm sure it's fun. Have some good matches, get some nice attires from it, which is nice to see.
I got the pre-order, so I got all that stuff with it, so like I didn't have to do it to unlock it.
Yeah, the accelerator.
Yeah, I got the accelerator.
That's just like that's kind of like a mandatory thing you should get, so you just have to worry about unlocking everything. Yeah. Does that include all the My Career stuff as well?
Yep.
I thank God, because I don't want to play through all My Career to get everything.
A baseball gym I get, and
which is kind of cool, like other indie arenas,
and a playable character called Ribby, which I don't know what is.
So I know the purpose of Ribby. I've watched the Cultaholic stream where Pachidi plays with it. He got to the point where it's like it's still early in like the campaign. where your characters, they go to Memphis to wrestle in Memphis, and it's at a baseball stadium, which is where that arena comes from. And so there's this mascot Ribby who's outside the ring for some reason, and so you have a match. Your female faces Lita in like a match, and she wins, which is kind of cool. He beat Lita in like this random stadium match. It's like, oh wow, so she gets put over. And then the guy character comes down. They celebrate together, and then Ribby comes in the ring, and your guy character faces off against Ribby in a dance-off. And you lose, even though I think you probably dance better than him. And then you get embarrassed by Ribby. And then Jerry Lawler comes out. You face Jerry Lawler in the no DQ match. Loser leaves town. And you win. And that's about that. And then Jerry Lawler makes a rib joke after that, like in the cutscene. So he actually used the proper term. So a lot of the in-jokes of wrestling are in the career mode, but still, like, you look past that, it's still, like, the game just doesn't look great, sadly. I've always been someone that likes the wrestling games, but of course prefer like the older ones, like your 2K14s, your Here Comes the Pains, your SVR games, some of the earlier 2K games, and like WWE 12/13 were great. But yeah, these days the roster is huge, which is good. They have all these different names, but it's like, even with that, the gameplay is still not good. It's really unfortunate to see. I don't like it. I'm glad I canceled my pre-order for the sake of also just saving the. I had the
$90.
I had the SmackDown edition, so I paid $140 originally.
Oh, and then you would have gotten the
autographs. I would have got Hogan.
Quotes.
Yeah, Edge. People got Edges, and they weren't signed.
But I got all with the accelerator. I got all the SmackDown characters.
Yeah,
so
you got Hogan.
Hogan.
Yeah, Hogan's in there. Mankind is in there. I think is Mankind.
Yeah, and China's
there too. It's China's the first time she's in a game since like SmackDown 2 on the PS1.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
And then with the SmackDown edition, you also got autographs by Edge, Kurt Angle,
and it's one of the three.
Oh, excuse me.
So yeah, you also get like a piece of the ring mat from like SmackDown of Ruthless Aggression era with SmackDown Fist. You get a ring apron from that, which is cool. And yeah, but
also there's an issue with fans getting it, and then there's no autograph.
Yep, Edge tweeted about that.
Yeah.
He's like, oh well, send it back in the mail, or like let the company know, and I'll sign it and send you one. So he's been very gracious about that, which is good that the people at the talent are aware of it and want to help people out by like that. But it's also like a communication thing on the company to not make sure all copies were signed, and let the talent who signed it know that they have a couple more to sign. Because I'm sure that all of them took like a day out of their week to go and do that, travel to Florida, wherever it was, to sign all those things and put them in the box.
They could have just like sent it in the mail.
Yeah, like Kurt, Ray, and Edge could have easily done that, but it seems a miscommunication. They all had spare ones they accidentally shipped. So 2K20, a big dud this year, and it's a shame, really. But hopefully 2K21, they figure out more of this transitional period stuff. Hopefully the patches fix some of the big glitches happening right now. But I have no idea what their plan is. 2K have tweeted, said they're going to look at this stuff, and they've gotten a lot of fan feedback. But we'll see what happens. I don't have high hopes, but hopefully they figure it out. So we're going to take a quick sponsor break. So we're two college graduates, so we don't have to worry about this. But our sponsor today is called Transit to College. This is one from our last episode. So going over our footnotes, yes, I'm doing this. The transition to college is an important step that includes complex requirements with stringent timelines. Transit to College are a team of experts who have not only gone through the system, but they've also written excellent essays and secured multiple admissions offers with scholarships. Now, they can offer effective strategies to help you do the same. Scholarship help, essay assistance, interview prep, they can help. So what you can do is that you can go to transit2college, that's the number 2.com, and start your process and say that the guys from Steam Dream, mainly Tim, sent you there. Again, that's transit2college.com, start this process and say that Tim sent you. That's our sponsor for today, and now we'll go on to the later half of the show. We have our well-renowned award segment, Superstar of the Week. And, well, this is obvious. As we talked about earlier, our Superstar of the Week kicked Johnny Gargano in the head. It's a no-brainer. This week, it is Finn Balor. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise to many people. He had one of the more eventful weeks, and just like he's had a very eventful month in general, because the last time we recorded it was the week 1 of the war, and that's when he first showed up. Mm-hmm. So now he's had this happen and more development happen around him. It makes him probably the most interesting he has been in WWE since NXT, like his first run, in my opinion.
Yeah, and before his turn on Gargano, I was going to say Superstar Week would have to been like Keith Lee or even Roderick Strong again.
Because I didn't know how we're going to do it, because we've been away for 3 weeks because like the back-to-back episodes we did, so I don't know how we're going to judge it. Because I had a couple people in mind. I had like Darby Allin was one I had in mind. Becky Lynch was one because of Hell in a Cell in the draft and her match with Charlotte. Matt Riddle, maybe. Who other people on my mind? Jericho's already won before. People can win multiple times. Roddy was a good one. Keith Lee, Dijak, any of them in that match.
But Finn Balor with one Pele kick blew him all out of the water.
The Pele kick that shocked the world. And that's why, because he created one of the biggest moments of like probably this year. I'd say of the year, honestly, because like you think about the big moments of this year. Like let's think about the big moments. Becky Lynch winning the Rumble, winning at Mania. John Moxley showing up Double or Nothing. Seth Rollins winning the title at Mania and winning it back at SummerSlam. Other big moments.
Seth Rollins almost passing out on his ring.
Oh yeah, there's that video, which is like that's really wow. Other big moments. Trying to think of other ones from the year. Other AEW moments. Mars and Moxley. I guess Cody and Darby was a cool moment. Oh, the chair shot to the head.
Yep.
The chair shot to the head was it's controversial, but it got people talking. All Out. I'm trying to think of a big. Santana and Ortiz showing up was a big moment. This week, of course, Finn Balor showing up, and Tommaso Ciampa coming back earlier this month. So, yeah, if you think about all these big moments this year, I think probably the best one overall is either probably goes to Finn Balor showing up or Tommaso Ciampa's return. At least in NXT, those are like the best moments of this year so far. And you can also like Gargano going back to the good side and kicking Ciampa when he first lost the tag match. Mm-hmm. That was a nice moment too, but nothing as monumental as Finn Balor coming back to NXT and then doing this.
Taking out the biggest baby face ever.
Like let's go back to September 18th. Do we think this is going to happen? Absolutely not.
Well, I thought we were going to see like the Demon 5 times a year now, like at takeovers, and he's going to go against the Undisputed Era and stuff. But no,
they're going all in with this, and Triple H has really got us all thinking because like when NXT first debuted on TV, I'm like, oh, it's going to be Imperium, isn't it, against the Era? And it's in Imperium that much since I think Walter beat Kushida. We had that great match against Burch and Lawkin last week, but they're based in NXT UK right now with Gallus. Yeah. But, it makes NXT also just get more attention to the casual fan, as we talked about earlier, because a lot of people now are going to be interested in Finn Balor and what he's doing, especially with the FS1 thing going on with his interview. So they're making a really big deal out of this, and it makes me really curious, as we talked about earlier, because I think TakeOver War Games, it's going to be Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. And I think Finn's going to win. I think it's going to be pretty obvious there. But after that, what happens from there? Because I don't know.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I think we're going to get like the old Prince Devitt character, just with the minor couple things taken out.
Just like, filtered for the NXT area without getting in trouble with New Japan. Yeah. Because, obviously that partnership did not happen. Or
censored because, in New Japan you can swear.
Yep, because, in NXT, they do it sometimes, not like as often as like New Japan or like AEW do it. Because, it's PG versus TV-14 at that point, so obviously different network things. So yeah, it's tough, but I think it's very, very exciting.
An aggressive, a bad Finn Balor.
An evil Finn Balor, which has never been seen in WWE. But of course, people who watch New Japan know it very well.
Yes.
Of course, it's been like 5 years, but it's still fondly remembered for a lot of reasons. Because like that's back when AJ was in Japan, Kenny was still there. That was like a very strong Bullet Club back then. And of course,
that was before.
Kenny didn't join by then, right?
No, because Finn was kicked out because he left, and then AJ came in, and then when AJ was kicked out, that's when Kenny was like just starting. Kenny was, because that's when the cleaner first came out.
Yeah, because that's they were like, well, Balor, Omega's been in Japan since was in Japan like 2011. It was like when he first came in. He was there for a while, but he wasn't like pushed like the bigger sides like 2016
until like 2014 was when the cleaner I think showed up. 2015.
Yep. So it wasn't until like around then he was like a big deal. Of course, then he really came to his own. Of course, as we all know. But yeah, because they were all in Japan around those times. AJ left in 2016, Balor's 2015, obviously. So they had to go through a big change period. Of course, Gallows and Anderson were there too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they left too to go to WWE, which they still are. Because this whole big OC angle might be becoming a bigger deal now because they've been tweeting at each other all week. It's like, oh, nice to see you again, Prince. I think it's what I think Anderson said. Because all of them tweeted about it, which makes it more interesting as well. But it could be them having fun. But yeah, Finn Balor is our superstar of the week. He does join the VIP sauna with Shawn Spears, Chris Jericho, Roderick Strong, Riho, and now Finn Balor. He gets a very special VIP towel that will probably say Prince Devitt on it because the Prince is back. Yeah, so that's our superstar of the week. We will now go into our final segment of the day before we close our doors. We're going to go over to the Steam Dream Universe. First time listeners, the Steam Dream Universe is a WWE 2K19 universe mode run by producer Tim. So we've had a couple things happen. The big things of note, we have concluded our King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournaments. These culminated at Survivor Series in the universe. Our King of the Ring winner on the men's side came from NXT, which is Sam Little's brand. the winner was Bray Wyatt. So in this universe, Bray Wyatt is not the Fiend. He is very much the Bray Wyatt of old, where he was
Eater
the
of Worlds.
Yeah, the Eater of Worlds. Bray. Now he is the King of all worlds, as the King of the Ring winner. He, I believe, is. I'm not sure if Tim told me the plans for him. I'm gonna look at the spreadsheet he has given to us. I think he's saying it because the loophole that Tim has created for the rosters in the universe mode is that the King of the Ring / Queen of the Ring can be traded to another brand. And I noticed that with the Queen of the Ring because Shayna is not on NXT anymore in this universe. So when Shayna won the Queen of the Ring, she was an NXT superstar. So what Tim did as a way around is that he traded her to Raw for Sonya Deville. Hey, it's an MMA trade. So they're going to have Sonya Deville go to NXT and start being built as like her own persona there, while Shayna goes to Raw to challenge Ember Moon, Tim's champion, for the Raw Women's title. I think that is currently booked for his Night of Champions pay-per-view happening pretty soon. It's coming from Dublin, Ireland in this universe, so we're getting to a very European audience here. And his card looks pretty solid. He has British Strong Style versus the AOP. It's going to be a tag team classic final. We'll get to that in a moment. Adam Cole versus Kevin Owens at a steel cage match for the IC title. We have TJP versus Tyler Bate for the Cruiserweight title in this universe. TJP is the champion. Ember Moon versus Shayna, as I mentioned. His tag team title match is going to be Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, the champions, against the Undisputed Era, Bobby and Kyle. His main event is The Rock versus Finn Balor for the Universal title. Speaking of Finn Balor again, on my side, on SmackDown, we've been building more since, in my King of the Ring bracket for SmackDown, Tyler Breeze won, and he went to Survivor Series and unfortunately lost because I had plans for him if he had won. So him and Brock Lesnar, which are a tag team called Beauty and the Beast. Yes, this was Tim's idea from the start, and I started using them more. They're in our tag team classic called the Von Erich Tag Classic, which we'll get to in a moment. They'll be facing El Sindicato, which is a Mexican stable composed of a bunch of Mexican Latino superstars, such as Sin Cara, Lince Dorado, Andrade himself, who is the leader, Zelina Vega, No Way Jose, who has been renamed Venice Venezuela, I believe is how you say that. Levis Venezuela. He is challenging for the WWE title. He's been repackaged at all because No Way Jose is a stupid gimmick. Let's be real. The rest of this card has... Epico is also in this stable. He'll be challenging Kevin Nash for the Hardcore title because Sid was injured. Yes, we'll get...
That's just such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, because... Tim had the SmackDown title... Well, had the Hardcore title on SmackDown. Our champion for a while was Psycho Sid. So Sid had this thing called... I came up with the Sadistic Open Challenge. Or no, Psycho Sid Sadistic Open Challenge. And he won a couple of defenses. I think one was against Kurt Angle. So we have a really fun roster. Eventually, Sid was injured by El Sindicato, I think either at a SmackDown show... at Starrcade. He got injured, so the title was vacated, and then it was given to Epico because he won it, or he was in that match. It was a steel cage match. So now we have Kevin Nash going after him. Then we have in our mid-card title, the U.S. title, is Daniel Bryan, the champion, going against Andrade in a rematch. We have Alexa Bliss, who is our SmackDown champion, going against Bianca Belair in a ladder match. So Bianca's been on this very big uprise throughout this whole universe year. She's beaten a lot of people on the roster. She won the SmackDown bracket, Queen of the Ring, but didn't win the entirety of the bracket. So now to compensate, it's going to go for a title shot against Bliss at TLC. It's hard to say which way else to go. I want Bianca to win because she's been really doing well for herself on my brand as like the up-and-coming woman. So hopefully it culminates for her year with that. Next, we have Aleister Black versus Randy Orton. So Black has been starting to get introduced more to my roster. I always wanted to push him, but he's just trying to find the right moment to do it, and I think this is the first step to doing that. We do have the Rumble coming up, so I might have him might make a push for him to win that. Hopefully, let's see how that goes. In our co-main event, we had The Undertaker, who recently won the belt from Eddie Guerrero at Starrcade, going against Levis Venezuela, the repackaged No Way Jose for the title. So yeah, Tim's made a big deal out of this. He's really repackaged him. So Eric, for context, his finisher now is a Snapdragon. That's his finisher now, and he has like this whole. I'll probably get Tim to show you what it looks like when we go see him downstairs. He has like a whole like Day of the Dead inspired look.
Oh no, I've seen that. You showed me it.
Yeah, so he has a very inspired look. He's just big. He's like the muscle of the group now. He's a big deal. So we're gonna go over that. But it's not our main event. Our main event of this show is a TLC tag match. It's going to be the Broken Hardys, Matt and Jeff, against the War Raiders. That's our main event because this is one of our longer feuds happening, and Ro is not happy with how Matt Hardy's been mocking them because he's doing his whole broken shtick with the Vikings.
Now.
Not in this universe. we have vetoed that. We have a lot of vetoes in this universe. Yeah, that's our main event. This is a very like personal feud because of like the beliefs clashing against each other, and it's going to culminate with this. Ideally, I want War Machine to win because the Hardys have held the belts since this universe has started. Good time to change the belts, especially as we get the Tag Classic underway. But yeah, that's the SmackDown card for TLC, our next pay-per-view. On Sam's end with NXT, he has TakeOver London, happening from London, England. He has Revival versus Lars Sullivan and Bo Dallas for his Tag Classic final. His tag title match is the Ascension versus the Beautiful People, which I believe, let me look at this roster. I'm not in charge of NXT. He is. Beautiful People is Rick Rude and Martel. Who's that?
Rick Martel?
Yeah, Rick Martel.
The model Rick Martel?
Yep, they're called the Beautiful People in this universe. That's his tag title match.
I've never seen Rick Rude and the model Rick Martel.
Yep, that's called the Beautiful People. They have Lacey Evans as well as like their mouthpiece. Just works, I guess. But
they can both talk.
They both can talk. So and then the women's match, the aforementioned Sonya Deville will go against Lacey Evans. As a pretty way to introduce Sonya to the NXT roster. Help her get over in her own way. Now they've lost Shayna. Have a new MMA figure come in. Help her establish herself. Pretty standard stuff. For the North American title match, Bray Wyatt has challenged Jon Moxley, who was the champion in this instance. So yeah, he's repackaged Ambrose's Moxley, which that's the right call. This is a street fight, a London street fight specifically. So this is Bray Wyatt's King of the Ring title match that he got. So I'll see what happens there. His women's match is a no DQ match. It's going to be the champion Candice LeRae against Bayley. I'm not sure what the story is here. That's more of a Sam and Tim thing, so I don't know about that much. His NXT Championship match. Roderick Strong, the NXT champion now, against Ricochet versus the Velveteen Dream in a triple threat. It looks like Roddy actually cashed in Money in the Bank, which I totally streamed over. And then the main event, since they're in London, it's a UK title match. It's going to be Drew McIntyre, the champion, against Cesaro. That's going to be a very hard-hitting match, if I'm being perfectly honest. So going beyond the upcoming pay-per-views, we go past that to the Royal Rumble. So after these pay-per-views happen, we have a Royal Rumble, which is going to be also in England, having from Birmingham. So Tim went through and did the entire entry of the Rumble. I'm not gonna put it up. I'm not gonna go through each one. I guess he might flash it up on screen. Takes time for him to do that. And those are the entrants for the Rumble. I'm not sure who I want to win the women's one yet, but I want to push for Aleister Black to win the men's Rumble, which I don't think he's listed right now. That's a problem. I'll have to talk to him about that. But we'll see what happens. It's kind of unpredictable right now because we don't know who to really book around. It's more of a Tim thing because he does run the universe mode. So it'll be really exciting. On the Tag Classic side, so it's called the Von Erich Tag Classic because, the Von Erichs were a very remembered tag team in all of wrestling. They're one of them instead of the Dusty Rhodes ones. So going across the brackets that Tim has laid out. So we seeded 4 tag teams from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in their own individual brand brackets, and the winners will face off, I think, in a 2v2v2 at, I believe, is the Rumble? Let me look at the pay-per-view schedule. Yep, it's scheduled for the Rumble. So the brackets that Tim has on Raw, start with him. He has the Dream Team, Brutus Beefcake, and Greg Valentine against British Strong Style, Tyler Bate, and Pete Dunne. His second match is AOP against Batista and Rey Mysterio. Very good tag team in their own right. On SmackDown, my bracket is El Sindicato, which is Sin Cara and Lince Dorado against Edge and Christian. I brought back Edge and Christian as a tag team. Edge is not injured anymore. I have the New Day, which is Kofi and Xavier in this instance, against Beauty and the Beast, Brock and Tyler Breeze. And NXT, Sam has in his first round Revival, Dawson and Wilder against Titus Worldwide, Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil. And his final match in the first round is Lars Sullivan and Bo Dallas against the Rock and Roll Express, Gibson and Morton. So yeah, those are the brackets. Other than that, the universe is chugging along. Probably get more excited in the coming days. I can't have much else to say because this is mainly Tim's thing, and he's not with us right now. But yeah, that just about concludes that segment, and we will now have to, unfortunately, wrap up the show, and we must close the doors to the sauna as we all get ready for it next time. So next time on the show will be Full Gear Weekend. AW Full Gear is fast approaching, and we'll be shifting into Full Gear and getting Full Gear ready very soon. Next time we'll have AEW Full Gear predictions. We'll have maybe some pitches or just like big moments predictions for the show. We'll talk about match card, run down the show, what we think is going to happen, and probably some other stuff for you. Maybe some hype for War Games Survivor Series as well. It won't be too soon after that show. Other than that, we'll do our simple recaps of what's going on, more of the news, maybe some other segments we'll think of as we go on. Our next superstar of the week, we'll see who it is then. But before we go, Eric, anything to plug?
Support independent wrestling. Just keep watching wrestling. Keep it growing.
Yeah, wrestling.
Yes. That's really it. Just keep watching wrestling. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah. I guess on my end, I guess I'll shout out pretty much Steam Dream, one of the sister channels of this podcast. YouTube.com/Steam Dream. There's some nice videos out. We have another podcast called The Steamboat, which is hosted by Tim and a couple other guys from the channel. They do more media. They talk about movies, video games, other nice things, and what they're doing in life right now. Pretty much around college, because they're all seniors right now. Also, shout out to the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast, hosted by Matthew. Other than that, that's all from me. Thank you all again. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow my wrestling Twitter at Stel Shoots, all together, no underscore, anything like that, where I tweet about just a lot of stuff what's happening right now, a lot of women's wrestling, a lot of just general stuff about wrestling and what's going on with the news. Other than that, so for now, we must close up the sauna. We will be back again in 2 weeks, and we must bid you adieu, and thank you all for joining us. Goodbye.